Chapter 1. After failing the college entrance exam, Soo Han-yu became Shin-lin's devoted wife for 40 years. She tended to her mother-in-law, raised Shin's siblings, and cared for their children, sacrificing her health to maintain the picture-perfect family others admired. Yet Shin-lin's dying wish was to bar her from his funeral, fearing she'd disrupt his journey through the cycle of rebirth. His estate was split equally between their children and the unrequited love he'd cherished for half a lifetime. All that remained for Soo Han-yu was a brief letter. It turned out he had stolen her college acceptance letter to fulfill his White Moonlight's university dream, ruining Soo Han-yu's entire life. Soo Han-yu broke down in hysterics, weeping and demanding answers, only to be rejected by her own children. "You only got that acceptance letter by sheer luck. How could you ever compare to Aunt Lynn's capabilities? Not to mention Dad and Aunt Lynn loved each other for 40 years without living together. That alone has spared you enough dignity. If you embarrass Aunt Lynn again, don't blame us for dumping you in the countryside to fend for yourself." Soo Han-yu was literally angered to death, only to open her eyes again, back in her college entrance exam year, for that stolen college admission letter. "I've repaid every debt with these 40 years. Back then, her acceptance letter was still in the mail, and Soo Han-yu's life had only just begun. In the late autumn of 2018, the solemn memorial hall was filled with mourning flowers. The crowd comforted the woman wearing white funeral attire with a white flower in her hair, while silently mourning the youngest chief official in the portrait. Suddenly, a hoarse shout of anger came from outside the door. "I'm Shin-lin's wife of 40 years, why won't you let me attend the funeral?" Soo Han-yu shoved past the guards, freezing in her tracks the moment she barged into the mourning hall and recognized the woman standing at its center. "Lin-yu, what are you doing here? Why would this woman who'd monopolized her husband for 40 years now dare to usurp even this final sanctuary meant for his widow?" Before Lin-yu could respond, Shin-sung and Shin-yu rushed forward in unison, roughly pushing Soo Han-yu away. "Mom, haven't you made enough of a scene? This was Dad's dying wish. You hounded him his whole life. Can't you even let him rest in death?" Soo Han-yu stood frozen in place as the lawyer beside her sighed and spoke up. "Madam Shin, these were indeed Chief Shin's final wishes. He explicitly stated that upon his passing, half his estate would go to Miss Lin-yu, the other half to his 2 children, and that your presence at his funeral was unwelcome." The lawyer's words struck Soo Han-yu like a thunderbolt. Her breathing became ragged as she lunged forward and seized the lawyer's hand. "I've been married to Shin-lin for 40 years, caring for his mother, raising his siblings, bringing up our children. What exactly have I failed at? He wouldn't do this to me." The lawyer, moved by compassion, produced an envelope and said, "This is the only thing Commander Shin left for you." Soo Han-yu snatched it away, only to find a single brief line of text inside. The familiar handwriting hit her like a sledgehammer, leaving her dizzy and gasping for air. 40 years ago, the absence of this admission letter made her believe she'd failed the college entrance exam, forcing her into an unwilling marriage with Shin-lin. Over the years, Lin-yu lorded it over her. Her children scorned her lack of education, and even strangers freely mocked her over this matter. All these years of grievances and injustice, she never had to endure them in the first place. Rage surged through her as she lunged at Lin-yu uncontrollably, only to be shoved away by the ever-vigilant siblings Shin-sung and Shin-yu. "You're still defending her. Do you even know she stole my college admission letter back then?" Before Soo Han-yu could finish, Shin-sung cut her off abruptly. "Just an admission letter. Haven't you had enough years as the commander's wife? Dad and Aunt Lynn were meant to be together. It's because of your interference they'd been apart all these years. Keep this up, and we'll dump you in the countryside to fend for yourself." A searing pain pierced Soo Han-yu's heart like a blade, sending her collapsing to the ground with hands clutched to her chest, as bystanders gasped in shock. She glimpsed through the crowd her own children quietly comforting the frightened Lin-yu, utterly indifferent to their biological mother's life or death struggle. The suffocating agony crested just before rage literally stopped her heart. Tears of bitter remorse streamed down Soo Han-yu's face. If given another chance, she'd guard her college admission letter with her life, letting no one steal the bright future that rightfully belonged to her. The bitter ache gradually faded, and after what felt like an eternity, a blinding light jolted Soo Han-yu fully awake. Her heart pounded violently in her chest when a familiar voice reached her ears before she could gather her thoughts. "Han-yu, Yaya isn't feeling well. You'll have to cover her shift this time." Soo Han-yu instinctively looked up, but the moment she saw the young Shin-lin, her gaze immediately dropped to her own hands. They were slender and dirt-streaked. Yet free from the calluses and scars that years of household chores would later bring, the village loudspeaker crackled to life, announcing the date, December 7, 1978. This was truly her second chance. She'd traveled 40 years back to the days before her college admission letter was stolen. The lifeless eyes suddenly sparkled with light. Seeing Soo-hanyu remain unresponsive, Shin-lin reached out to grab her, but she instinctively slapped his hand away. Memories of her past life burned in Soo-hanyu's heart, and hatred made her retort without thinking, "Impossible. What does Lin-yu's poor health have to do with me? Are you saying I'm the reason for her poor health? If you care so much, go help her yourself. Stop bossing me around." Shin-lin stood frozen. This was the first time Soo-hanyu had rejected him. A vague premonition crept in, as if something precious was slipping away. With those words, Soo-hanyu turned to leave, only for Shin-lin to block her path. "Soo-hanyu." Before Shin-lin could finish, Soo-hanyu suddenly shouted, "Help, there's a pervert here." Panicking, Shin-lin reached to cover Soo-hanyu's mouth, only to get his hand bitten hard. The arriving villagers immediately struck Shin-lin with a stick upon seeing the scene. Seizing the opportunity, Soo-hanyu dodged Shin-lin and took cover behind Aunt Wang. "For that stolen college admission letter, I've repaid every debt with these 40 years." It was only then that everyone finally got a clear look at the two of them. "Hanyu, Xiaolin, what are you two doing here?" Soo-hanyu took the initiative, grabbing Aunt Wang's hand while feigning grievance. "Aunt Wang, Shin-lin said Lin-yu is unwell and forced me to do her chores. When I refused, he threatened to harass me into compliance." Soo-hanyu spoke while hanging her head, sniffling dramatically as if on the verge of tears. Lin-yu, who had been watching from the crowd, panicked and blurted out urgently, "Soo-hanyu, what nonsense are you spouting? Dare you deny that I did all your previous work?" Soo-hanyu lifted her chin and pressed the question first. Lin-yu was momentarily speechless. The current Lin-yu wasn't yet the acclaimed university professor, just an educated youth sent to the countryside. If reports got out about a sent-down youth putting on airs and refusing labor, her chances of returning to the city would dwindle further. Shin-lin never expected Soo-hanyu to expose these matters so bluntly, and immediately shot her a venomous glare. "Soo-hanyu, what nonsense are you spouting? It was clearly your own initiative to help, and now you're trying to shift the blame onto Comrade Lin." Hearing this, Soo-hanyu found this situation even more ironic. "If I volunteered to help, why is it that I never lifted a finger before, but suddenly became helpful the moment you returned? You left me no choice. Go ahead and dote on Lin-yu all you want. Call off our wedding then. You're free to pamper whoever catches your fancy." Watching them rendered speechless, Soo-hanyu felt a savage satisfaction coursing through her. They ruined her life in the past, but this time she won't repeat the same mistake. Better to call off this engagement outright. Just then, a stern reprimand rang out unexpectedly. "You insolent fool, watch your tongue." The crowd turned to see Sue's father and mother arriving together. Seeing Sue's father, Shin-lin immediately gained confidence, his expression visibly relaxing. "Uncle Sue." Sue's father gave Shin-lin an approving nod before turning a stern gaze towards Soo-hanyu. "Xiao-lin serves in the military. Do you realize how serious it is to falsely accuse him of harassment? And Comrade Lin, you've completely ruined her good reputation. All that education was clearly wasted on you. Hurry up and come home with me this instant." The crowd, seeing Sue's parents had arrived, quickly made excuses to leave. Wanting no part in the family drama, Soo-hanyu opened her mouth to speak, but under her mother's pleading gaze, she ultimately remained silent. The moment the crowd dispersed, Sue's father abruptly slapped Hanyu across the face. "Old Sue, what on earth are you doing?" Sue's mother rushed forward to shield her daughter, unable to contain her anger. Neither Shin-lin nor Lin-yu had expected Sue's father to resort to violence so abruptly, their eyes widening in shock. "What the hell?" Sue's father jabbed a finger at Soo-hanyu, shouting angrily, "Why don't you listen to what she's actually saying? Who in their right mind would accuse their own fiancé of harassment these days? How could she ever marry after that? I won't marry him." The mere mention of marrying Shin-lin made Soo-hanyu visibly agitated. "We had a deal. If I got into college, I wouldn't have to marry Shin-lin. The college entrance exams just ended. The acceptance letters aren't even out yet. How dare you assume I failed, Mr. Sue's face flushed with rage as he raised his hand, but Mrs. Sue quickly intervened to stop him. Shin-lin frowned. Though he agreed that Soo-hanyu's disobedience deserved some discipline, that slap just now was enough. Any more might make him resent me. With that thought, I spoke up. "Uncle Sue, I believe Hanyu simply misunderstood my relationship with Comrade Lin. Let me properly explain things to Hanyu. Just as Father Su was about to nod in agreement, Hanyu reacted even more intensely. Nothing to talk about. I will absolutely get into university. I'd never marry you. As for you, marry whoever you want. Before anyone could react, Su Hanyu bolted straight toward home. Su Yu's momentary defiance earned her father's disciplinary punishment. With a creak, Madame Su carefully pushed open the door, carrying freshly ground herbal paste to Su Hanyu's bedside. Her heart ached at the sight of the purple bruises on her daughter's arms. Chapter 2, why must you be so stubborn? You know exactly why your father insists on your marriage to Shenlin. He could see Shenlin was a good kid too. Su Hanyu lay on the bed, her voice hoarse as she spoke. Just because Shenlin's so perfect in his eyes, he thinks I'm never good enough. Su's father and Shen's father grew up together, as close as brothers. During a flash flood, Mr. Su barely survived by clinging to a tree trunk, while Mr. Shen tragically lost the use of both legs, with Mr. Shen disabled and medical bills piling up. The Shen family's savings were soon depleted, racked with guilt for failing to save Mr. Shen. Mr. Su proposed a marriage alliance between their families to make amends. Only upon his father's deathbed plea did Mr. Su relent. The engagement would be void if Su Hanyu got into college, with all financial support to come solely from him. In her past life, she mistakenly believed she had failed the college entrance exam and was forced to marry Shenlin, yet after marriage, she watched helplessly as Shenlin carried on with Lin Yu, weeping, raging, even contemplating divorce. Each time she broke down in anguish, her father Su would dismiss her with a single flippant remark, failing the exam was your fate. The weight of fate crushed Su Hanyu her entire life. Only in her dying moments did she realize this wasn't the destiny she was meant to have. When heaven granted her a second chance, she vowed to rewrite the ending of her past life. At dawn the next day, Su Hanyu rushed to the village courier station despite her unhealed injuries. When Uncle Lee said there were no letters for her, a flicker of disappointment crossed Su Hanyu's face before she hastily pressed the pastries from her robe into his hands. Uncle Lee, could you please keep an eye out for me? If any mail arrives for me, please don't give it to anyone else but me. Alright. Though puzzled, Uncle Lee nodded in agreement. Su Hanyu remembered the admission letters would be sent out soon, unsure how Shenlin had intercepted hers in her past life. She could only take extra precautions to prevent history from repeating. Having finally resolved this pressing matter, Su Hanyu let out a sigh of relief, only to turn around and find Shenlin watching her from a distance. Hanyu, what brings you to Uncle Lee's place? Su Hanyu turned her head away and retorted sarcastically, what I do is none of your business. Instead of wasting time, you'd better check if Lin Yu can finish her tasks. Or she'll get another public reprimand. That'd break your heart, wouldn't it? Shenlin's expression turned icy as she rebuked Su Hanyu sharply. Hanyu, how many times must I tell you? Lin Yu's father saved my life once. I'm just repaying the debt. Why can't you understand me? There's absolutely nothing improper between us. Our relationship is completely innocent. I'll definitely marry you when the time comes. Su Hanyu had heard such sanctimonious words countless times before. In her past life, the first half was shackled by her father's so-called kindness, forcing her into an arranged marriage. The latter half was bound by Shenlin's debt of gratitude, enduring Lin Yu's endless humiliations until it literally killed her. But why should she? Su Hanyu met Shenlin's gaze and said, what, do I owe Lin Yu's father a life debt or something? I wasn't the one who received the favor. Yet I'm always the one expected to repay it. Shenlin, spare me your nonsense about marrying me. I'll get into college just fine. You and Lin Yu can do whatever the hell you want. With those final words, Su Hanyu turned and walked away without a backward glance. Shenlin watched Su Hanyu's retreating figure, an inexplicable pang stirring in his chest, the village being small and Su Hanyu's drastic change in attitude so noticeable. The news spread like wildfire. Everyone knew the Su family's daughter now thoroughly detested that Shen boy. Meanwhile, Lin Yu's relationship with Shenlin also became the talk of the village. The villagers neither particularly liked nor disliked the educated youth, but Lin Yu's constant shirking of work, even pushing her tasks onto me, inevitably left a poor impression. Now, with her entanglement with a betrothed man, rumors about Lin Yu began spreading like wildfire, despite Lin Yu's repeated explanations. Shenlin's obvious favoritism toward her made the villagers naturally skeptical. Su Hanyu paid no mind to these matters. As the day of the acceptance letter drew nearer, she had to stay on high alert. Little did she expect that the first to seek her out wouldn't be Shinlin, but Linyu. Suhanyu, I need to talk to you. Seeing Linyu's troubled expression, Suhanyu scoffed, why won't Shinlin come to see me anymore? How could he just abandon the daughter of his lifesaver? After decades of acquaintance in their past lives, Suhanyu knew exactly what kind of person Linyu was. She was always good at playing cute while manipulating others from behind the scenes to get what she wanted. That's why in her past life, Suhanyu endured countless taunts and schemes. Though she knew Linyu was behind them, proof was always just out of reach, and worse, Shinlin would inevitably show up to scold her instead. This was the first time Linyu had ever confronted her directly. Linyu's face twisted at Suhanyu's words, but she forced out a reply nonetheless. There's nothing between Brother Shen and me. Could you go clarify it was just you throwing a tantrum with Brother Shen? Seeing Suhanyu remain unmoved, Linyu asked through gritted teeth, Suhanyu, don't think Brother Shen actually likes you just because you're acting spoiled. Keep this up and you'll lose more than you gain. Suhanyu brushed the dust off her clothes and scoffed disdainfully, lost. If this keeps Shinlin away from me, I couldn't ask for more. To everyone's surprise, Linyu gave an eerie smile upon hearing this and spoke up. The next instant, she lunged straight at Suhanyu, who instinctively dodged, only for Linyu to lose her balance and tumble down the nearby slope. Xiaoyu, a shriek erupted nearby. Suhanyu turned toward the sound and locked eyes with Shinlin's furious glare. Shinlin had come intending to have a proper talk with Suhanyu, but arrived just in time to witness her shoving Linyu over the edge. He had thought Suhanyu truly didn't care about him to say such things, but in reality, she was even more obsessive and vicious. Before Suhanyu could speak, Shinlin rushed down and scooped Linyu into his arms. Just as Suhanyu was about to explain, Shinlin barged past her while carrying Linyu. Haven't you caused enough trouble already, Suhanyu? This is between us, why drag Xiaoya into it? Suhanyu's face darkened as the baseless accusation landed on her. Shinlin, I didn't push her. She fell on her own. I don't want to hear your excuses right now. Shinlin cut Suhanyu off mid-sentence, eyeing her warily. If anything happens to Xiaoya, you'll pay for it. With that, Shinlin hurried away carrying Linyu, leaving Suhanyu fuming alone on the spot. But her anger didn't last long. Suhanyu suddenly remembered urgent business and rushed toward the nearby grove. Suhanyu finally breathed a sigh of relief when she spotted a collapsed middle-aged man by a secluded thicket. In her past life, she'd accidentally saved this unconscious man while working here. What seemed like a simple good deed turned out to involve Song Weihai, a man of considerable military influence. On your knees. Shinlin's subsequent promotions were largely due to Song Weihai's patronage. Her rescue of Song Weihai this time wasn't just about preventing the untimely death of such a principled soldier, it was also to ensure Shinlin wouldn't have such smooth career advancement later. With this in mind, Suhanyu administered first aid to him just as she had in her past life. Soon, the man gradually regained consciousness and was utterly grateful upon learning Suhanyu had saved him. Since it was you who saved me, little one, just let me know if you need any help. What's your name? Suhanyu paused briefly before smiling. I'm Suhanyu, but don't mention it, it was nothing really. With those final words, Suhanyu turned and walked away without hesitation. She was confident Song Weihai's capabilities would inevitably lead him to Shinlin. Once that happened, Shinlin's dreams of smooth sailing like in their past life would be pure fantasy. With this weight off her mind, Suhanyu resumed her usual route toward the courier station, learning there was mail addressed to her. Suhanyu's excitement grew even stronger. Uncle Lee, what about my stuff? Just when I thought I'd get it right away, Uncle Lee cut straight to the chase. Didn't your father take it already? Hearing this, Suhanyu felt an inexplicable unease creeping in. She rushed home in a hurry, only to fling open the door and find the entire Shin family gathered inside. Suhanyu froze on the spot, frowning as she spoke. Chapter 3. What are you all doing here? Su's father took a deep drag from his pipe, his face darkening as he replied, we're naturally discussing your marriage arrangement with Xiaolin. The word marriage made Suhanyu's mind go blank for a second before she rushed to confront her father. I kept my promise and got into university. What gives you the right to force me to marry Shinlin? Dad, Uncle Lee said you took my mail. Give it back. That's my university acceptance letter, mister. Su shoved Suhanyu aside with a dark expression, his voice laced with displeasure. Bastard. Without that thing, you'd better marry Shinlin properly. Suhanyu froze momentarily as an absurd suspicion dawned on her. She asked with trembling lips, Dad, what do you mean by that thing? That's my college acceptance letter. It belongs to me. You promised Grandpa you wouldn't force me to marry Shenlin if I got into university. University this, university that. Father Su suddenly sprang to his feet, furious. All that book learning has addled your brain. What's so great about college? Girls will still end up married anyway. Xiao Lin's military career is going smoothly, his future prospects are limitless. You claim no one forced you to marry, so why push Comrade Lin down the hillside out of spite? Do you have any idea this is a matter of life and death? You could go to jail for this. Su Hanyu felt her blood boiling with rage as she slowly turned her gaze toward the silent Shenlin. So it was you all along, Shenlin, you're behind this, aren't you? You framed me to force me into marriage. Then who did that admission letter really go to? So you're planning to give your precious sister Lin Yu my university spot. Shenlin's fury intensified at these words. It was Su Hanyu who'd done wrong. Yet he'd negotiated terms to keep her out of prison out of kindness. And now she dared viciously slander Lin Yu like this. At this thought, Shenlin's expression darkened as he rebuked sharply, Su Hanyu, how many times do I have to say it? There's nothing between me and Lin Yu. Stop spreading these ridiculous lies. You're the one who pushed Yaya down the slope. This is the least you owe her as compensation. Since you can't get into college, why not let someone else have the opportunity? I'm even willing to marry you. What more do you want? The moment the words left his mouth, Su Hanyu slapped Shenlin across the face. Who asked you to marry me? Su Hanyu trembled with rage, her eyes burning with hatred as she glared at Shenlin. I could go to college, have a brand new life and a perfect future of my own. Who gave you the right to make decisions for me? No one present had anticipated Su Hanyu would suddenly strike. Even Shenlin, who always prided himself on understanding Su Hanyu, was momentarily speechless. Stunned by the hatred in her gaze, for the first time, Shenlin realized the warmth had long vanished from Su Hanyu's eyes when she looked at him, replaced instead by unmistakable resentment. The thought barely surfaced before Shenlin dismissed it outright. How could that be? Hanyu would never resent him. Madame Shen was the first to react, rushing forward to examine her son's face before letting out a shriek. Is this the fine young lady your Su family has raised? Need I remind you it was you who crippled my husband Shen, then begged for this marriage alliance? Now your daughter dares lay hands on my unharmed son. What next? Will she overthrow heaven itself? Before Su's father could respond, Su Hanyu cut in. So you'd better talk your son out of marrying me, otherwise he'll ruin my college plans, and the Shen family won't get off easy either. Let's see who comes out worse. Madame Shen lunged at Su Hanyu in a rage. But Shenlin stepped between them with restrained composure. This is between Hanyu and me. This is none of your business. What's more, I'm absolutely going to marry Hanyu. Shenlin's resolute stance left his mother speechless with anger, while Mr. Su spoke up bluntly. Su Hanyu, have you learned nothing from all your education? Xiaolin's been so good to you. What the hell are you making a scene about? I'll ask you one last time, are you marrying me or not? No. Su Hanyu wiped away her tears and scanned the room as she spoke to everyone present. I will go to college no matter what. I'd rather die than marry Shenlin. Enraged by her words, Su's father grabbed Su Hanyu by the arm. His vice-like grip sent waves of pain through her as she struggled in vain, being forcibly shoved into the room. Bang, went the sound, the door slammed shut. Su Hanyu instinctively rushed to open it, only to find it locked from the outside, no matter how hard she struggled. The door wouldn't budge. What are you doing? Let me out. I won't get married, I want to study. The metallic jingle of keys echoed as Father Su declared sternly. This isn't your decision to make. You'll stay in this room until you come to your senses. Su Hanyu never expected her father to be so unyielding. She pounded on the door desperately, pleading with him to let her out. When no response came from her father, Su Hanyu gritted her teeth and spoke. Shenlin, make my father release me this instant. I'll never marry you. If you push me to the edge, don't blame me for taking us both down. The resolute words shocked everyone outside the door. Mrs. Shen was berating Su Hanyu when, unexpectedly, Shenlin, who had always been evasive about the marriage, took an uncharacteristically firm stance. This marriage will happen whether you like it or not. That acceptance letter is what you owe Yaya. Once Yaya leaves for college, I'll convince Uncle Su to release you. Chapter 4. After uttering these words, Shenlin cast one last lingering glance at the locked door, suppressing his unease as he escorted his mother out of the Su residence. Su Hanyu refused to accept her fate, hurling frenzied curses at Shenlin until the commotion faded into silence, with no one left to hear her ravings. After shouting for so long, Su Hanyu collapsed weakly to her knees. Memories of her past life flooded her mind, all her desperate efforts to rewrite that tragic ending, yet the deepest betrayal came from those she held dearest. If her father stole her college acceptance letter in this life, what had he done in the last? Did her biological parents truly not know that Lin Yu's admission letter rightfully belonged to her, or had they deliberately given it away from the start, ever since the engagement was arranged? Their greatest wish had been for Su Hanyu to marry Shenlin, yet in this lifetime, despite giving Shenlin and Lin Yu countless chances to be together, he still chose without hesitation to sacrifice his own future just to chain her down for Lin Yu's sake. Exhaustion and hatred flooded Su Hanyu's heart, leaving her seething with resentment yet utterly lost in confusion. Su's father was determined to teach her a lesson. For 3 straight days, he locked her in the room without food or water, starving her to the brink. On the 4th night, as Su Hanyu lay weakly in bed, a faint sound finally came from the long silent doorway. Her mother entered carrying a meal and soup, her heart aching at the sight of her daughter's suffering. "Hanyu, just apologize to your father. Why must you be so stubborn?" Su Hanyu grabbed her mother's hand pleadingly. "Mom, I don't want to get married, I need to study. Please, could you talk to Dad for me? He wants to repay a debt. But I can earn money for the Shin family once I start working. Just don't give my admission letter to anyone else." Mother Su gently pushed Su Hanyu's hand away, avoiding her gaze as she spoke. "Your father already gave the college admission letter to Lin Jiqing. He said it's compensation for you pushing Lin Jiqing. Now the whole village knows your father took the betrothal gifts from the Shin family. If you don't marry into their household, he'll become the laughingstock of the village." Su Hanyu stood frozen in place, her lips trembling as she asked, "Mom, are you and Dad forcing my hand here? You knew I couldn't bear to see you both condemned by everyone, so you accepted the bride price behind my back and made it public to force me into marrying Shenlin. Am I not your own flesh and blood? Why are you pushing me like this for some outsider? Do you really have to drive me to my death to be satisfied?" Hearing this, Mother Su frantically grasped Su Hanyu's hand and kept repeating, "Hanyu, how could your parents ever want to push you to such despair? Your father's right, every young lady must marry eventually. Shenlin is a good man, he'll treat you right. Just trust us this once, will you? Treat me right." In her past life, Shenlin never exactly mistreated her. He gave her all the dignity she deserved. Yet this very decency made her repeatedly suspect his affair with Lin Yu, only to later dismiss it as her own paranoia. Yet her parents never realized that the storms Shenlin shielded her from were ones she shouldn't have faced in the first place. But obviously, Su Hanyu couldn't voice any of these thoughts aloud. Seeing Su Hanyu remain silent, her mother pressed on, "And even after you said such harsh words that day, the Shin family still refused to let their son marry you. Even the Shin family kids threw tantrums, crying and refusing to let you in. It was Shenlin who stopped everyone, swearing he'd marry no one but you in this lifetime. Hanyu, that boy Shenlin is utterly devoted to you. Don't take his love for granted." Clutching at her last shred of hope, Su Hanyu asked, "Mom, have you ever considered how unwelcoming the Shin family is toward me? Do you really think I'll have a happy life if I marry into that family? Do you and Dad have to pressure me like this?" Mrs. Su froze momentarily before grasping Su Hanyu's hand and saying, "It'll come. Wasn't Mom treated the same way back then? Yet she's made it through all these years just fine. Hanyu, things will get better." As the faint flame flickered out completely, Su Hanyu felt as though her very soul had been drained from her body. She heard herself murmur in agreement, head bowed. "We'll do whatever you and Dad decide, Mrs." Su's face lit up with joy at these words, and she immediately exclaimed, "I'll go tell your father right now. Tell him to let you out so you can properly prepare for the wedding." But as she reached the door, Mother Su hesitated and turned back. "Hanyu, are you truly willing to marry Shenlin and give up university?" Su Hanyu remained silent, quietly eating the meal that had been brought to her. At first, Su's father could hardly believe his daughter had agreed so readily. But seeing Su Hanyu's docile expression, he decided to trust her compliance. "How many times must I say it? What's the point of a girl burying herself in books? Marry well, Shenlin won't treat you poorly." Perhaps moved by Su Hanyu's obedience, even the typically stern father softened his expression for once. Yet Su Hanyu knew better than anyone that this was all a facade, whatever her father had told the villagers. Their gazes grew increasingly intense whenever they fell upon her. Even her occasional visits to the Oxguard area would end with villagers hastily shooing her away. "Your father made it clear, we're absolutely forbidden from taking you with us. Otherwise, if anything happens to you, he'll come knocking on our door again." The village was far from town, so ox carts were their only means of transportation. Father Su was clearly determined to marry Hanyu to Shenlin, even taking precautions against her potential escape. Just as Hanyu turned around, she found Lin Yu blocking her path, running away like a kicked dog. "What's the hurry?" Hanyu turned around and fixed Lin Yu with a stare. "Times have really changed when thieves can strut down main streets in broad daylight. Lin Yu, did you really think stealing my admission letter would solve all your problems?" Lin Yu's expression darkened as she retorted stubbornly. "Hanyu, do you really think such words could frighten me? Let me make this clear. Brother Shen has promised to keep you under close watch. Do you honestly believe he married you for love? It's merely to monitor you more conveniently. You can't leave this village, and I've got your admission letter. You'll just have to watch me attend that university instead." To Hanyu, such brazen words carried more bluster than real threat. "So why come flaunting your victory in my face now? Did Shenlin give you my admission letter but attach some conditions to it? You're losing control over Shenlin, so now you're rushing to sow discord between us. Well, that's only natural. After all, Shenlin and I will be husband and wife soon. Who knows, one night I might whisper something in his ear, and in a moment of passion, he could turn you in." Lin Yu's face darkened, her gaze towards Hanyu now laced with unmistakable venom. "Brother Shen would never. He promised to take care of me forever. Marrying you was just to keep tabs on you. Is that so?" I let out a derisive snort and sneered. "Then what's your hurry?" Lin Yu was left speechless and stormed off in frustration. Chapter 5. Hanyu stood still, closing her eyes briefly before speaking. "Ah, you're already here. Why keep hiding?" Shenlin stepped out from behind a tree, looking at Hanyu with solemnity. "You shouldn't have said those things to Yaya. I won't let you stand in the way of her college education, but I promise, after we're married, you'll want for nothing." Shenlin couldn't understand why Hanyu, who had always trusted him, was making such a fuss over Lin Yu this time. Hanyu was growing impatient. "Shenlin, are you done pretending? As long as you're not around, I won't have to suffer any grievances." Staring at Hanyu's icy expression, Shenlin unconsciously clenched his fists as the words he'd buried deep in his heart came spilling out. "Do you really hate the idea of marrying me that much?" Hanyu wondered if her confinement had driven her mad. She actually detected a hint of hurt in his voice. She gave a bitter smile as she met Shenlin's gaze. "What difference does willing or unwilling make? If I said no, would you actually go tell my father to call off the wedding?" Though it was the question she'd meant to ask, Shenlin instantly regretted voicing it the moment the words left her mouth. Suppressing the strange feeling in her chest, Shenlin moved to grasp Hanyu's hand, only for the other woman to deftly evade her touch. "We're not married yet. Stop this improper grabbing before people start talking." A bitter ache swelled in Shenlin's chest as the words escaped his lips unbidden. "Hanyu, what's really going on with you? Why are you suddenly treating me like this? I thought you had feelings for me." Hanyu lifted her gaze to meet Shenlin's, irritation lacing her voice. "So what? Once you like someone, you can't just stop. Or am I supposed to be your on-call lackey, your personal slave at your beck and call? Wake up. Slavery doesn't exist in modern China. You were the one who wanted this marriage. Stop bringing up irrelevant nonsense now. If you're unhappy with it, let's just call off the engagement." Shenlin was at a loss for words, only able to reassure himself that things would get better after marriage. "If you're still hung up about what happened between me and Lin Yu, I'll prove to you after we're married that there's absolutely nothing between her and me." Hanyu said coldly. "I don't care. Be with whoever you want." Shenlin watched Hanyu's distant demeanor, an inexplicable panic rising in his chest. He was well aware of Hanyu's feelings for him, otherwise she wouldn't have kept agreeing to his requests time and again. But Hanyu's sudden change made him realize how fragile that affection was compared to her studies. For once, he felt a twinge of resentment, yet couldn't help feeling grateful for that once-dreaded marriage arrangement. The world beyond wasn't so easily conquered. He'd strive to give Hanyu a good life, which was precisely why that admission letter was better off going to Lin Yu. The wedding was originally scheduled for a month later, but unexpectedly, Shenlin had military duties requiring his early return to the barracks. Before their marriage application was even approved, both families agreed to proceed with the wedding ceremony first. While Hanyu showed little interest in the wedding preparations, Shenlin became unusually meticulous, insisting they select every detail together. The villagers observed this attentiveness, remarking how fortunate Hanyu was to marry such a devoted man. Hanyu seemed weary of these words and couldn't help speaking up. "Can't you give me some personal space? It's not like I'm going to run away." Shinlin stood frozen for a long moment before suppressing the bitterness in his heart to speak. So in your eyes, showing you our wedding preparations was just another way to keep tabs on you. What else would it be? Su Hanyu glared at Shinlin with disgust. Are you seriously going to claim you actually want to marry me and build a life together? Shinlin, drop the act. There's no one else here to fool. An indescribable pain radiated from the depths of his heart. All he wanted was more time together. Yet upon hearing Su Hanyu's words, Shinlin unclenched his fist and retorted stubbornly, you're absolutely right. I may be putting on an act, but you're stuck with this act for life. Su Hanyu, don't even think about running away. With those words hanging in the air, Shinlin fled like a deserter. After that day, Shinlin avoided Su Hanyu for several days straight. On their wedding day, just as Su Hanyu opened the door in her bridal gown, she came face to face with Shinlin arriving for the marriage procession. Seeing the newlyweds remain silent, the villagers assumed they were shy and began cracking jokes to lighten the mood. The ceremonial bows and tea offerings commenced. When the rites concluded, guests took their seats, raising wine cups in jubilant toasts. Even Su Hanyu wore an uncharacteristically pleasant expression, standing by Shinlin's side while continuously refilling his wine cup, drunk as well. Su's father grabbed Shinlin's shoulder and gave him earnest instructions. She's my only daughter, you'd better take damn good care of her. Son-in-law, really, nodding in his tipsy state. Shinlin gazed at Su Hanyu with an intoxicating tenderness that only liquor could conjure. Yet the very next words he uttered shattered the illusion. Don't worry, Dad. As long as Hanyu doesn't pick on Yaya, I'll treat her well. No one found this statement inappropriate. On the contrary, Mr. Su even chided Hanyu for being unnecessarily jealous. Hanyu nodded without arguing, simply pouring drinks for everyone non-stop. Late at night, many people stumbled home drunk. Mrs. Su took her intoxicated husband home, while Su Hanyu helped the drunken Shinlin to his room, shooing away Shin's mother and others who wanted to assist. The stench of alcohol hung heavy in the air. Just as Su Hanyu turned to leave, Shinlin suddenly pulled her into his embrace. Hanyu, where do you think you're going? Finding herself unable to break free, Su Hanyu deflated and spoke wearily. I'll get you a warm towel and bring you some water while I'm at it. We're already married, what more do you want? Just as Su Hanyu was about to forcibly pry Shinlin's hand away, she suddenly heard him ask, yes, married, being married is good. Hanyu, do you love me? The hope in those words left Su Hanyu silent for a long moment before she finally spoke. Why, I do. Those two featherlight words instantly soothed Shinlin. He released his grip and shut his eyes tight, yet still murmured softly for Su Hanyu to stay safe. Su Hanyu stood by the bedside, speaking only after the murmurs faded, but that was in our past life. Shinlin, let's not meet again in this lifetime. No. She wiped her hand where Shinlin had touched, then turned and walked away without hesitation. The village at night was eerily silent, with only the relentless chirping of insects sounding like death's urgent summons. Drenched in sweat from running, she held her breath at the slightest rustle of leaves. The icy wind howled down her neck, sending waves of searing pain through her chest. At last, Su Hanyu reached the haystack near the Su residence, where she retrieved the bundle she'd hidden away long ago. Chapter 6. The moment she saw the bundle, Su Hanyu let out a relieved sigh. Just as she slung it over her shoulder to leave, a voice suddenly called from behind. Hanyu. Su Hanyu turned stiffly, coming face to face with Madame Su, whose eyes were red-rimmed with unshed tears. Mom. Mother and daughter locked eyes for a long moment before Su Hanyu finally set down her bundle, closing her eyes as she spoke. Even if you have them drag me back this time, next time, the time after that, no matter how long you lock me up or starve me, I'll never stop trying to escape. My life shouldn't be confined to this place. I deserve to explore the wider world and fulfill my potential. Dad keeps saying marriage is my destiny, but I refuse to accept that fate. Su Hanyu held no illusions that her mother would stand up for her. She knew better than anyone how meek her mother was, how terrified of defying her father's orders. She blamed not her mother, but her own lack of foresight. Then suddenly, a weight settled heavily upon her shoulders. Su Hanyu looked up to find her mother's tear-filled gaze, the very woman who had just placed the abandoned burden back upon her daughter's shoulders. I never had much schooling, not like you and your father. All this talk of fate, I don't understand it, but after listening to your father all these years, perhaps it's time to hear something different. It's just my daughter's wedding day. I'm just wandering around aimlessly. Su Hanyu's heart skipped a beat as she instinctively grasped her mother's hand. Mom, Mrs. Su clasped her daughter's hand in return and asked softly, "Have you got everything sorted out, the admission letter?" Before Mother Su could ask further, Su Hanyu nodded, "Everything's taken care of, Mom, don't worry. I'll come back for you once I've sorted everything out." She wanted to stay with Mother Su a while longer, but the older woman pushed her away abruptly. "Alright, it's getting late, you'd better go now. If we wait any longer, the Shin family might find out." Su Hanyu understood this too. Fighting back tears, she gave her mother one last embrace before steeling her heart and turning away. Running down the side path without looking back, she ran for what felt like ages, only stopping when she spotted a sedan parked ahead. As the car door opened, she found herself staring at the handsome face of a young man. Seeing Su Hanyu frozen in shock, Song Jincheng stepped aside and spoke up, "Classmate Su, I'm Song Jincheng. Song Weihai is my father. Don't worry, my dad's briefed me on everything. I'll get you out safely." Song Jincheng, that name rang a bell. Su Hanyu remembered him as Shen Lin's sworn rival in their past life, constantly clashing with him in military affairs. Yet Su Hanyu remembered clearly, when she and Lin Yu were kidnapped together, Shen Lin chose to save Lin Yu and abandoned her. It was Song Jincheng who risked his life to rescue her. In her past life, everyone said she was fortunate to marry Shen Lin, living in luxury without a care for food or clothing. Only Song Jincheng mocked Shen Lin for not recognizing his own good fortune when he heard such remarks. Su Hanyu never expected to meet Song Jincheng so much earlier in this lifetime. "Comrade Song, I appreciate your help." Though only in his early 20s, Song Jincheng looked slightly embarrassed upon hearing this. "Don't mention it, you saved my father, that makes you my benefactor. Here's your northbound train ticket. I've already sent someone to inform the school about the situation. That admission letter is now void. Someone will meet you for registration when you arrive at the school. If there's anything else I can do, just say the word." Su Hanyu stared at the train ticket to Yuqing in her hand, gathering her courage after long contemplation before speaking. "There's actually something I'd like to ask of you." The car sped by, chasing the faint dawn light alongside the rising sun. As daylight broke, a damp chill wind streamed through the windows, making the paper wedding character behind the door flutter noisily. The fragmented noises mingled with the cold air, gradually rousing the hungover Shen Lin from his slumber. His hand groped instinctively beside him, only to meet cold emptiness. In an instant, his muddled consciousness snapped awake as he bolted upright. The throbbing hangover made Shen Lin press his temples, squinting toward the bedside where neither water glass nor basin remained. The room stood perfectly ordinary, were it not for the crimson double happiness character behind the door and his new attire. He might have believed yesterday's wedding mere illusion. This isn't a dream. Where's Su Hanyu? A sudden unease gripped Shen Lin's heart. Ignoring his throbbing headache, he forced himself up and opened the door. Shen Lin searched everywhere, the hall, kitchen, guest rooms, even the surroundings, but Su Hanyu was nowhere to be found. Mrs. Shen, just waking up, saw her son's frantic movements and asked curiously, "Xiaolin, what are you looking for?" Shen Lin instinctively glanced at her mother before rushing over in quick strides to ask, "Mom, have you seen Hanyu, Mrs.?" Shen pursed her lips and replied impatiently, "How could I possibly have seen her? She probably knew the new bride should show filial piety, so she got up early to prepare breakfast. If you ask me, women still need proper discipline." Before Mother Shen could finish speaking, Shen Lin went back inside and woke up Shen Hui and Shen Xian, who were still sleeping. "Shall we, Xiaoxin, have you seen your sister-in-law?" The two children exchanged glances and shook their heads, while Mrs. Shen, who had just entered, sensed something amiss. "Xiaolin, what do you mean by that? Wasn't Su Hanyu with you? She couldn't have just run away, could she?" Shen Lin suddenly barked, glaring darkly at his mother. "Hanyu would never run away. Perhaps I neglected her when I was drunk yesterday, and she just went back to the Su family in a huff. I'm going to find her right now." Yet even as he thought this, the hollow void in Shen Lin's heart inexplicably grew wider. He and Su Hanyu had grown up together, and he prided himself on knowing her better than anyone. Su Hanyu cherished old friendships deeply and hated worrying others. She would never simply vanish without a word, but when Shen Lin rushed to the Su residence to apologize to Mr. Su, he was met only with the old man's bewildered gaze. "Xiaolin, what do you mean by that, exactly? Why on earth are you apologizing to me out of the blue?" Shen Lin stood frozen in place, unable to stop himself from asking, "Dad, hasn't Hanyu come home yet?" A loud crash sounded behind them as Mrs. Su dropped the water basin, then rushed straight to Shenlin demanding answers. Shaolin, what do you mean by that? Why would Hanyu come back? Wasn't she supposed to be with your Shen family, Mom, or did you do something to drive Hanyu away? Hearing this, Father Su immediately became agitated. Shenlin, explain what's going on right now. News of Su Hanyu's disappearance quickly spread throughout the entire village. The villagers joined forces to search for her, combing every corner of the settlement, yet not a single trace of Su Hanyu could be found. Strangely, all her belongings remained untouched: clothes, personal items, even the university admission letter that had been taken. It was as if she'd vanished into thin air. Married yesterday, gone today. Mrs. Shen was understandably furious, demanding an explanation from Mr. Su. Even the usually patient Mr. Su lost his composure, convinced the Shen family must have done something to cause the sudden disappearance of his normally obedient daughter, Su Hanyu. As the two families argued endlessly, Shenlin, caught in the middle, had no mind to mediate. The remote village offered no transportation except ox carts. On foot, no one knew how long it would take to leave. Fearing the worst for Su Hanyu, he scoured every inch of the area until finally spotting fresh tire tracks along a narrow path. Following the tracks leading toward the station, Shenlin leveraged his military connections to desperately seek any trace of Su Hanyu. With no photographs to show, Shenlin spent 7 straight days at the station, questioning everyone with only verbal descriptions. On the 8th day, a homeless man who slept near the station finally gave Shenlin a lead. That girl you mentioned is quite pretty, with a mole near the corner of her eye. Early morning 8 days ago, she boarded a train with a young man, looked like a loving newlywed couple. Before the vagrant could finish, Shenlin snapped angrily, "What nonsense are you spouting? Hanyu would never leave with anyone else. Stop slandering her. If I hear you say that again, I'll break your damn legs." After saying this, Shenlin fled in a panic. Even after locking himself in his room, Shenlin couldn't shake the vagrant's words echoing in his mind. "Young man, forced love never lasts. The girl already has someone in her heart. She'd rather run away than face you. Why keep pestering her?" Shenlin wanted to explain he wasn't harassing her. Su Hanyu had liked him first. On their wedding day, Su Hanyu showed no signs of anything unusual, dressed obediently. She followed behind him like a dutiful wife, pouring his wine, joining him in receiving everyone's congratulations. But he'd forgotten one thing: Su Hanyu was never the docile type. Blinded by joy, he'd foolishly believed they could make amends when his drunken ears caught her offer to fetch him water. Shenlin mistook Su Hanyu's compliance for surrender. The elation he felt then now burned as fury upon learning the truth. Dad, furious at Su Hanyu for changing her mind, furious at himself for falling for such a clumsy act, he wanted to confront Su Hanyu, to demand why she couldn't just be honest about not wanting to marry him. Then it suddenly hit him. Su Hanyu had told him before, more than once, but he dismissed it all as jealous ranting. Everything would be fine once they got married. Shenlin never expected Su Hanyu would choose to flee the wedding. Lying in bed, he felt a dull throbbing return to his temples, tormented by chaotic thoughts. Shenlin closed his eyes and forced himself to sleep. For 3 straight days, Shenlin refused food and water. Locking himself in his room, the Shen family grew increasingly desperate, but no amount of knocking or pleading could make him open the door. Left with no other choice, Mrs. Shen finally sent for Lin Yu. Lin Yu always despised being someone's second choice, but with no one to rely on in the village, life would become even harder if Shenlin truly abandoned her. After much deliberation, Lin Yu ultimately followed Madame Lin to visit him. She had taken extra care with her appearance today, and her timid knock at the door carried a note of pitiful vulnerability. "Brother Shen, it's Yaya. I know you're worried about Su Hanyu, but you can't just lock yourself away and refuse to eat like this. Could you open the door, please?" Lin Yu waited for a long time, but Shenlin showed no response whatsoever. Sensing Mrs. Shen's reproachful gaze, Lin Yu couldn't help biting her lip, her resentment towards Su Hanyu growing even deeper. It's all Su Hanyu's fault. If she hadn't caused this scene, Shenlin wouldn't have ignored her, nor would the villagers suspect her of wrongdoing. Seeing that Shenlin truly intended to disregard her, Lin Yu took a deep breath and said, "Brother Shen, it's time to register at the university." Chapter 7. I'm a bit nervous going alone. Could you accompany me? Just as the university topic came up, the door burst open. Dark circles shadowed Shenlin's eyes as he stared at Lin Yu for a long moment before finally speaking. Overjoyed by Shenlin's agreement, Lin Yu immediately grabbed his arm and exclaimed happily, "Brother Shen, you're the best. Shenlin felt an unfamiliar irritation as he stared at the hand gripping his arm. Against his will, village gossip flooded his mind. Would Su Hanyu have stayed if Lin Yu hadn't existed? He quickly suppressed the thought. Lin Yu was his savior's daughter, after all. The fault lay with Su Hanyu's unreasonable demands. Lin Yu bore no blame. What's more, Su Hanyu might be at the university too. With a loud clatter and the shriek of train whistles, Su Hanyu jolted awake from her slumber. She gazed at the desolate scenery outside the window, clutching her bundle tightly to her chest. The 3-day train journey was grueling enough, and being her first time traveling far from home, she couldn't shake the nervous tension. When fleeing the village that day, Song Jincheng had intended to take her straight to the university registration office, but Su Hanyu suddenly changed her mind. Though Yuqing University was reputable, it wasn't her dream school after all. Having left in haste with only some personal belongings and documents, she barely had any money, let alone funds for tuition or living expenses. The Song father and son had already done so much for her. Any more would make her feel undeserving. Besides, whether it was the Su parents or Shenlin, they all knew she'd been admitted to Yuqing University. When they came looking for her in Yuqing, she might evade them temporarily but never permanently. By then, there likely wouldn't be another Song Jincheng to rescue her. Most importantly, according to her past life memories, the era of reform and opening up was fast approaching. Rather than heading north for studies, she decided to try her hand at business down south first. Using this time to prepare for the college entrance exams again to get into her dream university, Su Hanyu knew her decision was risky. In her previous life, after mistakenly believing she'd failed the exams, she married Shenlin and took charge of household affairs, though she had her own ambitions and longed to venture out into the world, but Shenlin wouldn't allow it. Providing for the family is a man's duty. What's that got to do with a woman? Just focus on taking good care of mother and the others at home. Mrs. Shen was in poor health, and the 2 younger siblings were still too young, requiring constant care. Su Hanyu had no choice but to resign herself to staying at home. She planned to venture out once Shen Hui and Shen Xian grew older, but then she became pregnant again. The child was too young to be without its mother. By the time her children came of age, Shenlin had already risen through the ranks and secured a prominent position in the military. As a military family member, one must be extra cautious at all times to avoid giving others any leverage. Thus, Su Hanyu's dream of starting her own business was shattered once again. For 40 years, everyone envied Su Hanyu's life as a housewife, wanting for nothing, with a high-ranking husband and accomplished children. Yet Su Hanyu had wrestled with discontent countless times, only to delude herself under society's watchful gaze and overwhelming expectations. What's so bad about that? Everyone's been through this. It wasn't until Shenlin's funeral, when everyone blamed her despite years of her husband's betrayal, that Su Hanyu finally realized how absurd her past sacrifices and self-deception had been. No one cares about a selfless appendage. To them, she was the obedient daughter to her parents, the humble daughter-in-law to Mrs. Shen, the lifelong wife to Shenlin, and the mother of Shen Tsong and Shen Yu. The world only remembered her titles, but forgot her name was Su Hanyu. She is Su Hanyu, not someone's daughter, not someone's wife, and certainly not someone's mother. Given a second chance at life, Su Hanyu refused to leave any regrets this time. Pressing a hand to her chest, Su Hanyu made a silent vow to herself. How much worse could things possibly get? As the train came to a stop, Su Hanyu disembarked with the crowd and arrived in Nanjing. Unlike the vibrant, glittering southern city in her memories, this place was just a shabby, dust-covered town. But to Su Hanyu, this marked the beginning of a brand new chapter. To her shock, Su Hanyu discovered a gaping hole in her luggage right after leaving the train station, along with all her money mysteriously vanishing. She wanted to report the theft, but had no idea where to find the police station. She asked passers-by, but in the underdeveloped South District, everyone only spoke the local dialect. Su Hanyu couldn't understand them, nor could she make herself understood. During her inquiries, Su Hanyu nearly broke down in tears several times, but each time she steeled herself. Undeterred, she went from shop to shop until finally finding one where Mandarin was understood. The shop owner was Granny Su, a widow whose children had left years ago without a word. She made ends meet by running a small tailoring business. With her booming voice and gaunt frame that gave her a somewhat intimidating air, people often kept their distance from Granny Su. When she learned that Su Hanyu had been robbed and was looking for work, Granny Sue studied the girl for a long moment before speaking in broken Mandarin. My old bones can't bend like they used to. There's a room here that's been gathering dust. Clean it up properly and I'll pay you. Su Hanyu quickly agreed and followed Granny Sue through the alleyway to a small attic. The room Granny Sue mentioned turned out to be a cluttered storage space beneath the staircase. Dust billowed out upon opening the door, revealing a tiny, broken window that let in slivers of light amidst piles of scattered junk. After handing over the room to Su Hanyu, Granny Sue promptly took her leave. Su Hanyu rolled up her sleeves with determination and began tidying up the space before her, item by item. She carried things out to clean them, even fixing some broken parts along the way. From morning till night, Su Hanyu lost track of time before finally getting the entire room spotless. Exhausted after finishing everything, she collapsed onto the floor, massaging her aching limbs. She looked up to find Granny Sue standing at the doorway, having apparently been watching her for some time. Su Hanyu hastily rose to her feet. Granny Sue, would you mind checking if I've tidied up properly? The elderly woman gave a cursory glance before suddenly turning away. I need an extra hand here, room and board included, but no pay. If that works for you, say the word. Su Hanyu stood frozen for a long moment before finally grasping Granny Sue's meaning. Overjoyed, she immediately expressed her gratitude. After dinner with Granny Sue, Su Hanyu finally returned to her room and collapsed onto the bed. The damp air still lingered as she shielded her eyes with her hand, her aching limbs making her reluctant to move an inch. Her first day in Nanjing had already brought so many unexpected events. Whether these were blessings or misfortunes, Su Hanyu couldn't quite tell. She lowered her hand, only to glimpse through the narrow window a sky full of stars, their brilliance magnified against the dark canvas of night. As she gazed, the aches in her body seemed to ease somewhat. She opened the window, closed her eyes, and let the cool breeze soothe her restlessness. It can't get worse, Su Hanyu. With these thoughts in mind, Su Hanyu drifted into a deep sleep. Early the next morning, Su Hanyu got up and headed to Granny Sue's sewing shop, sorting fabrics, greeting customers, assisting with odd jobs. Soon the whole neighborhood knew the eccentric little sewing shop had hired a lovely young assistant. Granny Sue was an exceptional seamstress, but her peculiar temperament made many instinctively avoid her. Now with Su Hanyu around, everyone silently agreed to have her relay their garments and requests instead. Noticing this, Granny Sue pedaled her sewing machine while remarking sarcastically, "My, how dearly they all seem to adore you." Su Hanyu set down the clothes in her hands and beamed at Granny Sue. "What's the use of liking me? It's all thanks to your craftsmanship, Granny Sue. Look how beautifully this is done." When Granny Sue remained silent, Su Hanyu coaxed and cajoled until the old woman finally pretended to scowl. "What are you still doing here? Go greet the customers." After staying with Granny Sue for half a month, Su Hanyu had come to understand her tough love personality. Their interactions became more natural, and Sue even sought out Granny Sue specifically to learn the local Nanchang dialect. Meanwhile, Su Hanyu used her free time to explore the city, gradually gaining a basic understanding of Nanchang. But as for what business to start, Su Hanyu still hadn't figured it out yet. While cleaning one day, she stumbled upon those fabric scraps and suddenly had an idea. Learning the scraps were useless, Su Hanyu gathered them up, recut and stitched them into hair ribbons. After finishing them, Su Hanyu took advantage of her breaks to sell them at busy marketplaces. The high foot traffic in those areas made the hair ribbons sell like hotcakes. A genuine smile finally graced Su Hanyu's face as she counted the money in her hands. Whether pursuing education or business ventures, substantial funds were always needed. The more money Su Hanyu earned, the more confident she became. Just as Su Hanyu was brimming with excitement to make her mark, she spotted her own missing person notice on a market-side television. Su Hanyu, female, aged 19. Su Hanyu felt her blood run cold in an instant. She thought no one would care about her disappearance except her parents. But this missing person notice clearly bore Shenlin's signature style. Su Hanyu couldn't understand why Shenlin was so determined to haunt her this lifetime. Was it because she resented her for making Song Jincheng void that admission letter? For Lin Yu's sake, Shenlin could hate her this much. Her chest burned like a boiling cauldron of oil, pain and hatred coursing through Su Hanyu's entire being, yet she could do nothing but flee in disgrace to some deserted corner, letting fat teardrops streak down her cheeks. She wept for hours, her tears only subsiding as night fell. After much deliberation, Su Hanyu decided to sell hair ribbons at remote street corners, but fewer passers-by meant even fewer customers. More often than not, she'd only managed to sell 1 or 2 ribbons a day. Soo-hanyu suspected her craftsmanship might be lacking, so she threw herself into perfecting the designs with growing diligence. Sacrificing more and more sleep, one day while selling hair ribbons, exhaustion overcame her and she slumped against the wall, fast asleep, yet when footsteps approached, she jolted awake instinctively. Chapter 8, Hello there, what can I get for you today? Soo-hanyu froze in place the moment she looked up. It was Granny Sue. Alright. She scrambled to her feet, the usually silver-tongued woman at a complete loss for words. Without a word, Granny Sue simply walked away in the opposite direction, not daring to say another word. Soo-hanyu quickly gathered her things and followed with her head bowed, but as they walked, she realized this wasn't the way home, her heart pounding. Soo-hanyu was about to speak when Granny Sue suddenly stopped. Just leave it here. She looked up and found herself in a bustling marketplace, though not as crowded as the market she'd visited before. It was far livelier than the street corners she usually frequented. Soo-hanyu stared blankly at Granny Sue and whispered, Granny Sue, aren't you angry? Angry? Granny Sue turned her back to Soo-hanyu and snorted coldly, coming home late every single day, and nowhere to be found when I look for you. Might as well drop dead out there one day. I wouldn't even know when my hired help's gone missing. Soo-hanyu's eyes welled up with tears as she rushed forward to embrace Granny Sue. After a long pause, Granny Sue finally returned the hug and said softly, I saw that missing person notice. A young girl like you wouldn't have traveled all this way alone unless she was truly desperate. From now on, you'll be my little granddaughter. In time, no one will question it. Soo-hanyu nodded solemnly and hugged Granny Sue tightly. After that day, Granny Sue would subtly mention Soo-hanyu's status whenever customers visited the tailor shop. Soon, the neighbors learned that the new young helper was actually Granny Sue's granddaughter. Before this, everyone simply dismissed it as Granny Sue's eccentric temper, a petty act of resentment toward her long-absent son. Yet Granny Sue seemed to genuinely treat Soo-hanyu as her own granddaughter, relentlessly pushing her to master sewing and embroidery. Though Soo-hanyu showed remarkable talent, her late start made it impossible to immediately meet Granny Sue's exacting standards. Granny Sue was mercilessly strict, her scoldings leaving no room for excuses. The handkerchief dried only to be soaked again. Soo-hanyu had lost count of how many times she'd wept. For months on end, Soo-hanyu juggled college entrance exam prep with enduring Granny Sue's scolding while learning needlework, squeezing in time to sell handmade hair ribbons and trinkets. Every waking moment was consumed, her exhausted body collapsing into sleep the instant it touched the bed. The demons that once haunted her sleepless nights seemed to be fading into the distance. As time passed, things seemed to gradually fall into place. The backlog was slowly caught up on, Granny Sue's praises became more frequent, and even some bulk orders came in for the handmade accessories. Time flowed like water, and the dreamed-of future seemed to draw nearer with each passing day. July 1982, graduation season. The air pulsed with cicada songs and sweltering heat that left people gasping. Just as Soo-hanyu finished taking group photos with her classmates, she bumped into Song Jincheng helping Grandma Sue along. She hurried over, taking the flowers from Song Jincheng's hands while scolding him. Why did you bring Grandma out in this scorching heat? Grandma Sue gently dabbed Soo-hanyu's forehead with her handkerchief and murmured, Today's your graduation day. I insisted on coming, so don't blame Xiaojin. Let Grandma get a good look at you. Soo-hanyu gently embraced Grandma Sue and spoke softly, Graduation isn't really that big of a deal, but this heat is something else. Wouldn't want anyone getting heatstroke. Grandma, you should take better care of yourself too. This marked Soo-hanyu's 5th year living in Nanjing. Despite her eccentric temperament, Granny Sue had taken an extraordinary liking to Soo-hanyu, treating her as her own granddaughter. Soo-hanyu originally planned to attend Beihua University, but ultimately chose Nanjing University, equally prestigious. For Granny Sue's sake, after the exams, she unexpectedly ran into Song Jincheng, who was visiting Granny Sue. It was then that Soo-hanyu discovered Granny Sue's long-standing friendship with Song Jincheng's grandfather. Granny Sue's children didn't disappear without a trace, they sacrificed their lives during a mission. All these years, Granny Sue refused to accept the truth, convinced they were just avoiding her out of spite, and consequently cut off contact with everyone else. When Song Jincheng heard Granny Sue suddenly had a granddaughter, he grew suspicious and came to investigate, only to run into Soo-hanyu instead. Learning about their connection, Granny Sue marveled at how fate had brought them together. Over the following years, they interacted frequently and gradually became close. After the graduation ceremony, Song Jincheng took Su Hanyu and Granny Su to the restaurant they'd reserved earlier. Granny Su kept murmuring about the extravagance, yet couldn't suppress her beaming smile. When most dishes were finished, Song Jincheng turned to Su Hanyu. Now that you've graduated, what are your plans? Thinking of visiting home, Su Hanyu still seemed slightly uncomfortable at the mention of going home. After China's reform and opening up, Nanjing developed rapidly. Su Hanyu used her earnings from hair accessories to establish a small studio, which later expanded into a company with multiple divisions including clothing and jewelry. She had earned quite a fortune over the years and sent substantial sums to her parents, yet never returned home. She once sent someone to discreetly check on her family, only to learn that Shenlin still visited the Su household every holiday as usual. This knowledge drained her courage to go back. Her father had been so adamant about her marrying Shenlin. Returning now might mean facing that pressure again, and she couldn't bear the thought of orchestrating another escape. At this thought, Su Hanyu shook her head and said, "No thanks, I'm taking Grandma to Beijing Hospital for a checkup, and while we're there, I'll explore some business opportunities." The moment Grandma Su heard about the Beijing Hospital visit, she objected. "Why waste money on this old bag of bones? No way I'm going. You focus on your business. Don't worry about an old woman like me." Seeing Granny Su being stubborn again, Su Hanyu coaxed her with resigned patience. "Granny, this isn't wasting money at all. Besides, haven't you always wanted to visit North City? Why don't we just treat this as a little trip? Nothing matters except your well-being, so don't overthink it," Song Jincheng added while serving Granny Su more food. "Hanyu is absolutely right, perfect timing. I need to head to North City myself, let's go together. While Hanyu handles the business matters, I'd be happy to show you around North City." Su Hanyu gasped in surprise upon hearing Song Jincheng was returning to North City. "Didn't Uncle Song say you had to stay in Nanjing?" Song Jincheng waved his hand helplessly. "No matter how much he says, it's nothing compared to the old man's word. Guess I'll have to obediently go back after all." When Grandma Su learned that Song Jincheng was also going to Beijing, she finally agreed, with many matters still unresolved. Su Hanyu had Song Jincheng take Grandma Su to Beijing first, planning to catch up later. By the time everything was settled, half a month had already passed. Su Hanyu stepped off the train with her luggage and sat quietly on a nearby bench to wait. Su Hanyu had planned to show Granny Su around Beijing right after arrival, but word of their trip somehow reached old Master Song. The insistent old patriarch demanded to host them for dinner, leaving Su Hanyu no choice but to accept. Though Song Jincheng volunteered to pick them up, last-minute duties forced old Master Song to send someone else instead. Su Hanyu wanted to decline the arrangement, but yielded to the elder's stubborn insistence. Fortunately, she didn't have to wait long before a young man in black came running toward her. "Hello, you must be Miss Su." Su Hanyu quickly rose to her feet and asked gently, "You must be Comrade Zhang." Zhang Jiping scratched his head sheepishly. "Miss Su, Brother Song has already made all the arrangements, just call me Xiao Zhang. I'll take you to the Song residence now." As they chatted while getting into the car, a familiar face unexpectedly came into view the moment the door opened. Su Hanyu's blood ran cold the moment she recognized the approaching figure, her grip on the suitcase nearly failing her. Unaware of Su Hanyu's distress, Zhang Jiping explained, "This is our regimental commander Shen. Elder Song happened to have some business with him, so we gave him a ride." Noticing Su Hanyu's silence, Zhang Jiping cautiously inquired, "Miss Su, are you acquainted with Commander Shen?" Memories from this life and past existences flashed through her mind like slides, the suffocating tightness in her chest nearly robbing Su Hanyu of breath. Steadying herself, she heard her own voice reply in a strained whisper, "No, I don't know him, let's go." Su Hanyu got into the car. Keeping a noticeable distance from Shenlin, she had imagined countless scenarios of reuniting with Shenlin, in their village, at the office, or even just a fleeting glance on the street. Yet each imagined encounter left her enough breathing room to mentally prepare herself. Right at this delicate moment, Su Hanyu couldn't quite define the turmoil in her heart. She'd believed those 5 years had matured her enough to greet Shenlin with graceful composure. Yet the scars from their past ran deeper than she'd imagined. 5 years later, the embers of her hatred for Shenlin still burned. Zhang Jiping, behind the wheel, sensed the charged atmosphere but only dared a furtive glance at Shenlin in the back seat. Shenlin's face remained impassive as usual. Zhang Jiping scrutinized him for a long while but detected nothing unusual, eventually giving up. Yet the very Shenlin who occupied Zhang's thoughts wasn't as composed as he'd assumed. Aware of Su Hanyu's dislike for him, He subtly shifted toward the car door when she wasn't looking. Even so, the faint, elusive fragrance from Soo Han-yu still lingered around Shin-lin. Even the white shirt she was wearing seemed to glow brighter. He restrained his movements carefully, not wanting to scare Soo Han-yu away by appearing too eager. For 1,873 long days, Shin-lin had heard nothing from Soo Han-yu. 5 years ago, after wallowing in depression at home, he'd escorted Lin Yu to Yuqing University, secretly hoping for a chance to see Soo Han-yu again. Shin-lin had even made up his mind. If he could find Soo Han-yu and she agreed to return with him, he'd take back the admission letter he'd given Lin Yu and return it to Soo Han-yu. Even if this meant betraying Lin Yu's trust, he couldn't bring himself to care anymore. It finally dawned on him, he couldn't bear to lose Soo Han-yu. Nor could he afford to, if Soo Han-yu wanted to study. Wasn't his willingness to let her go enough? He still couldn't bring himself to believe that Soo Han-yu no longer had feelings for him. On the road to Yuqing, Lin Yu chattered away incessantly. Not a single word registered in his mind. All he could think about was what to say when he saw Soo Han-yu. Should he apologize, admit his mistakes, or act as if nothing had changed? Shin-lin pondered for a long time, only to realize there was just one thing he truly wanted to say. Chapter 9, After You Graduate. Let's have our wedding ceremony properly, what do you say? Yet in the end, those words remained unspoken. He took Lin Yu to Yuqing University, only to learn her admission letter had long been invalidated. This student already informed us in advance that she couldn't enroll due to family reasons and requested to invalidate this admission letter. The admissions officer spoke while eyeing them suspiciously. Where did you get this admission letter from? Those few words shattered Lin Yu completely. She crumpled the admission letter in her trembling hands, reduced to desperate pleading. No need, how could this be? I never cancelled this admission letter. Could you please reverse this decision? I worked so hard to get into this university. I didn't cancel it. In her agitation, Lin Yu even grabbed Shin-lin's arm, demanding he explain on her behalf. Brother Shin, tell him quickly, this admission letter belongs to me. I never voided this admission letter. What right do they have to deny my enrollment? Shin-lin stood frozen, desperately racking his brain for answers. Soo Han-yu had burned bridges with him and even fled her parents' home just to attend university. Why would she ever choose to void this admission letter? He rushed to the staff member, suppressing his panic as he demanded, did Soo Han-yu personally come to cancel this? To their surprise, the staff refused to elaborate. Merely confirming the cancellation was personally authorized. The evasive response deepened Shin-lin's unease. He brushed past Lin Yu, desperately plastering missing person notices everywhere. For 5 long years, the only proof of Soo Han-yu's well-being was the regular deposits into her father's bank account. Shin-lin had resigned himself to never seeing Soo Han-yu again, until their unexpected encounter under these circumstances, not the destitute and disheveled appearance he had imagined. A composed tranquility with undercurrents of radiant charm, a Soo Han-yu more vibrant and full of life than he'd ever seen. Everything was reminding him of the truth he least wanted to acknowledge. Soo Han-yu seemed to thrive after leaving him. An inexplicable suffocation clogged Shin-lin's chest like cotton wool, making even breathing feel labored. The car came to an abrupt halt as Zhang Zhiping turned to address the passengers. Miss Soo, Commander Shin, we've arrived. Soo Han-yu nodded, then eagerly swung the car door open. Shin-lin stared at his empty hand for a moment before withdrawing it and stepping out of the vehicle. The moment he spotted Soo Han-yu, Song Jincheng immediately strode forward to greet her. Han-yu, you're here. Granny Soo is waiting for you inside. He was about to say more when he caught sight of Shin-lin stepping out of the car, his expression suddenly darkening. Zhang Zhiping quickly chimed in to explain. Brother Song, Elder Song happened to need Commander Shin for something, so they came together. Song Jincheng glanced at Soo Han-yu before nodding in agreement. If the old master wishes to see someone, I certainly can't stand in the way. Han-yu, let's go. He shielded Soo Han-yu from behind, his lean frame completely obscuring her from Shin-lin's view. As a fellow man, Shin-lin could clearly sense Song Jincheng's hostility and protective instincts. Song's guarded demeanor made it obvious he knew something about Shin's relationship with Soo Han-yu, but what unsettled him more was Soo Han-yu's own reaction. The same Soo who'd been so wary with him moments ago now seemed unexpectedly at ease around Song Jincheng. He clenched his fists, his mind in turmoil. Zhang Zhiping beside him failed to notice Shin-lin's unease, gazing at Song Jincheng and Soo Han-yu's retreating figures with admiration. Brother Song and Miss Soo make such a perfect match. I heard Miss Soo is still in college. Hearing this, Shin-lin came to an abrupt halt, Zhang Jiping jumped in alarm and stammered, "Regiment Commander Shen, I forgot you dislike hearing such things, my apologies, are they together?" Shen Lin stared at Song Jincheng's retreating figure and asked in a low voice. Zhang Jiping froze for a moment before stammering out a reply, "And not yet, heard brother Song still hasn't confessed, but he's waited 5 years for that girl, shouldn't be long now." 5 years, Shen Lin's heart clenched as he instinctively recalled Su Hanyu's disappearance 5 years ago. The village was miles from the station with no carts or bicycles, yet Su Hanyu somehow caught that train in under 6 hours. The vagrant's words echoed in Shen Lin's mind once more. The identity of that mysterious man from 5 years ago was suddenly revealed at this moment. Steadying himself, he instinctively quickened his pace to catch up with the pair, left behind. Zhang Jiping wore a puzzled expression as he muttered to himself, didn't Commander Shen always dislike people prying into his private affairs? What made him take the initiative to ask this time? On the other side, Song Jincheng wasn't as composed either, frowning as he spoke. "That was thoughtless of me. I forgot to ask Xiao Zhang if he'd arranged for anyone else to accompany you. He didn't do anything to you, did he?" Su Hanyu shook her head, recalling Shen Lin's demeanor as she spoke. "Besides, 5 years have passed, he's probably forgotten all about what happened back then. By now, he's likely with Lin Yu. Why would they care about a runaway bride like me?" Seeing Su Hanyu's indifference, Song Jincheng silently swallowed the words on the tip of his tongue. As a man, he could naturally see through Shen Lin's calm exterior to the covetous gaze fixed upon Su Hanyu, like the desperate frenzy of a man spotting water after 7 days in the desert. But he had no intention of sharing this with Su Hanyu. He didn't want Su Hanyu to resent Shen Lin. Hatred often stems from lingering attachment. The more indifference shown, the clearer it would prove Su had moved on from their past relationship. What chance did a jilted ex-fiancé, someone who never even made it to marriage registration, possibly stand against him? At this thought, Song Jincheng grew even more pleased. The lingering irritation from his earlier encounter with Shen Lin dissipating like morning mist, old Master Song and Granny Su had been waiting eagerly in the parlor, their faces lighting up with joy when Song Jincheng entered with Su Hanyu. "This must be Hanyu." The elderly Song approached Su Hanyu, beaming as he glanced at Granny Su beside him. "I must say, after raising her these years, she's starting to take after you." Su Hanyu took out the gift she had prepared in advance. "Grandpa Song, here's a little something I brought for you. It's nothing fancy, but I hope you'll like it. If he doesn't want it, I'll take it back." Granny Su made a playful grab, but old Master Song swiftly snatched it away, saying, still acting like the same old bandit after all these years, "Since Hanyu gave this to me, I'm keeping it." Just then, old Master Song noticed Shen Lin approaching and immediately called out, "Ah, I nearly forgot. There's still some business to attend to, Xiao Jin. Please take Hanyu and the others to the side hall and make them comfortable. I'll join you shortly." Song Jincheng nodded and led Granny Su and Su Hanyu toward the other direction. As she passed by Shen Lin, Su Hanyu thought she saw his hand reaching toward her, but only for a fleeting moment. When she looked more carefully, she found Shen Lin's hand still resting properly at his side. She brushed off this little incident and soon stopped thinking about it. After about half an hour, Elder Song wrapped up his business and invited everyone to chat, casually extending dinner invitations to Su Hanyu and Granny Su. Granny Su and Elder Song were old comrades in arms who couldn't stop talking after years apart. Su Hanyu and Song Jincheng joined them, hearing many old stories and even drinking a few toasts when the reminiscing got particularly animated. By the time the feast ended, night had long since fallen. Old Master Song insisted on having Granny Su and Su Hanyu stay overnight, but both declined as they weren't accustomed to sleeping away from home. Seeing their refusal, the old man instructed Song Jincheng to escort them back to the inn. Tipsy from the rare indulgence of alcohol, Granny Su became increasingly talkative, clutching Su Hanyu's hand while chattering non-stop. Su Hanyu was caught between laughter and exasperation, humoring Granny Su like a child. All right, we'll do as you say, Granny. Let's just sit quietly and get ready for bed." Song Jincheng rarely saw Su Hanyu in such a doting mood and couldn't help chuckling. "You and Granny Su really do share a special bond." As night deepened, streetlights flickered to life on both sides of the road, with pedestrians coming and going and cars rushing by. The streets buzzed with energy. The car came to a stop, and Song Jincheng and Su Hanyu helped Granny Su out together. Just as they were about to enter the hotel, they spotted Shen Lin standing nearby in the blink of an eye. Su Hanyu ignored Shen Lin, turning to Song Jincheng instead. "Just leave him be, let's get grandma upstairs to rest first. If he wants to stand there, let him. Song Jincheng shook his head and murmured, his presence here is just getting in your way, I'll send him packing. You take Granny Sue upstairs to rest first. With that, Song Jincheng waved over a hotel attendant, slipped them some money, and had them assist Su Hanyu in helping Granny Sue upstairs to rest. Seeing Song Jincheng's insistence, Su Hanyu could only nod in agreement while still managing to remind him, stay safe, just ignore them if they won't listen to reason. Song Jincheng stood still, watching Su Hanyu enter the hotel until the room lights flickered on moments later. He looked down and immediately spotted Shen Lin approaching him. Commander Shen, what brings you to such lowly pursuits as tailing people? Shen Lin tilted his head upward, watching the newly illuminated window as he spoke. This is North City's finest hotel, I didn't need to follow you to know you'd book here. Song Jincheng sneered upon hearing this. No wonder Hanyu hasn't wanted to mention you all these years. Chapter 10, In Your Eyes. Is she only fit to depend on others? Completely devoid of independence, Hanyu found this hotel, and she paid for it too. The long-buried truth being laid bare made Shen Lin's breathing grow noticeably ragged. Song Jincheng, how long have you known her? What gives you the right to act like you know her so well? I've known her for 20 damn years. Who the hell do you think you are? Shen Lin was usually composed and taciturn, apart from that incident with the homeless man. This was only the second time he'd ever lost his temper and spoken so rudely. Seeing Shen Lin's furious expression, Song Jincheng sneered, what does 20 years even mean? You only forced Hanyu into that sham wedding after 2 decades anyway. Oh right, you never even filed the marriage paperwork. She's not even legally your wife. A rare smirk played on Jin Cheng's lips, sending Lin into such a blind rage that he grabbed the other man by the collar. If it weren't for you, Hanyu would have been my wife by now. A sharp rebuke rang out as Hanyu came running, breathless, wrenching Lin's hand away and shoving him back. Lin Shen, we stopped being anything to each other 5 years ago. What are you still making a fuss about? Su Hanyu watched Shen Lin warily, shielding Song Jincheng behind her as if anticipating some hostile move. A flicker of hurt flashed through Shen Lin's eyes as he saw Su Hanyu's protective stance. He took a deep breath, suppressing his irritation before speaking. Hanyu, we're married. He deceived you, took you away and kept us apart for 5 whole years. Shen Lin, snap out of it. Su Hanyu stared coldly at Shen Lin and said without hesitation, Song Jincheng never deceived me, let alone abducted me. I went with him willingly from start to finish. In fact, I was the one who asked him to take me away. Leaving you was exactly what I wanted. As for this so-called marriage you keep mentioning, without a marriage certificate, the law won't recognize it. If you keep harassing me, don't blame me for calling the police. With that, Su Hanyu took Song Jincheng's hand and walked away. Shen Lin instinctively moved to follow, but stopped himself mid-step. He stood frozen in place, watching helplessly as the 2 figures vanished from sight. A bitter ache welled up in his chest, spreading through his limbs like unrelenting poison. Shen Lin couldn't comprehend, had Su Hanyu's shove really been that forceful? Nothing else could explain why even breathing had become this agonizing. Shen Lin stood rooted to the spot for what felt like an eternity, only beginning his slow walk back after most streetlights had dimmed and the roads lay deserted. As he reached the apartment building, Lin Yu, who'd been waiting all this while, suddenly sprang out at him. Brother Shen, what took you so long? Did something happen? Shen Lin gazed at Lin Yu for a long while, yet never mentioned running into Su Hanyu earlier that day. How's your exam preparation going? When the admission letter was invalidated, Lin Yu had no choice but to return to the village since she couldn't attend university. Shen Lin pulled every string to secure Lin Yu a chance to return to the city. When Lin Yu's mother saw she failed the college entrance exam, she decided to marry her off. Planning to use the bride price for her brother's wedding, desperate, Lin Yu threatened suicide, but when her mother remained unmoved, she turned to Shen Lin for help. Shen Lin initially offered to pay the bride price himself, but to his surprise, Lin's mother was dead set on marrying her daughter off. Left with no choice, Lin Yu sought out Shen Lin once again. Brother Shen, I don't want to get married, I want to go to university. Why don't you marry me instead? I promise I won't be any trouble. I'll focus on studying for the college entrance exams. She'd expected Shen Lin to agree, but to her surprise, the man who'd never denied her anything before refused. My wife is Su Hanyu, I can't marry you. But she ran away. Lin Yu clutched Shen Lin's arm desperately, pleading hysterically, besides, you never even got a marriage license, you're not legally married. Brother Shen, you promised my father you'd take care of me. Are you going back on your word? Shenlin kept his promise. He spent his entire savings to buy Linyu 5 years. As long as she could get into college within that time, her mother wouldn't force her into marriage. 5 years had passed. This was the final chance. Linyu immediately understood Shenlin's implication. She halted mid-step, her expression crumbling. Brother Shen, is this really all we have left to talk about? A sudden wave of exhaustion washed over Shenlin as he pressed his fingers to his temples. It's getting late, you should rest now. I'm tired, going to bed. He ignored Linyu's pestering and headed straight upstairs. Linyu bit her lip unconsciously as she watched Shenlin's retreating figure. Ever since Su Hanyu left 5 years ago, Shenlin's attitude toward her had changed significantly. If not for her using past favors as leverage, Shenlin would have long since abandoned her. She had believed 5 years would be enough to melt even the hardest heart, yet Shenlin remained as unresponsive as a block of wood, refusing to relent, and today his indifference cut deeper than ever. Linyu's intuition told her something must have happened to Shenlin today. After pulling Song Jincheng into the hotel, Su Hanyu immediately released his arm and looked at him apologetically. Sorry for troubling you just now. Song Jincheng felt the lingering warmth on his arm and smiled. Tucking his hands slightly behind his back, no need to be so formal with me. Shenlin clearly hasn't given up on you yet. Let me stay by your side for now. Su Hanyu shook her head helplessly. You rarely get time off. Don't waste it on me. Besides, you've already done so much for me over the years. I'd feel terrible troubling you any further. Su Hanyu's words rang with sincerity, her gaze upon Song Jincheng as clear as spring water, utterly devoid of coy pretense. Song Jincheng found himself momentarily spellbound by her expression. Is something wrong? Noticing his dazed state, Su Hanyu inquired with puzzled concern. Song Jincheng jolted awake, then instinctively smiled as he reached out to ruffle Su Hanyu's hair. I don't find it troublesome at all. Besides, Granny Su was the old master's dear friend. Out of respect for her, I should naturally look after you. Aren't we going to the hospital tomorrow? Just wait for me properly. Without giving Su Hanyu a chance to refuse, Song Jincheng turned and strode away, his retreat bearing an almost panicked air. Su Hanyu felt something was amiss, yet couldn't quite grasp the thought. She climbed the stairs back to her room, only to find Granny Su standing by the window. Grandma, why aren't you in bed yet? Su Hanyu hurried over and followed Granny Su's gaze, just catching sight of Song Jincheng who kept turning back every few steps. Chapter 11. But Granny was standing in such a concealed spot that Song Jincheng probably couldn't see her. Hanyu, was that young man today the one you almost married? Granny Su grasped Su Hanyu's hand and asked earnestly. Su Hanyu took a deep breath, unable to bear keeping the truth any longer, and nodded. I never thought I'd run into him in Beijing after 5 years, but I've made myself clear to him, he shouldn't bother me again. Granny Su gently stroked Su Hanyu's cheek and said softly, Hanyu, you know too little about men. He won't give up. Actually, there's one more thing I need to ask you. What exactly are your thoughts about Xiao Jin? Su Hanyu looked perplexed as she grasped Grandma Su's hand. What does this have to do with him? Shenlin is Shenlin. I can handle things between us. I don't need his help. Seeing Su Hanyu's clueless expression, Granny Su sighed in frustration. Who mentioned Shenlin? Can't you see Song Jincheng treats you differently? Ordinary friends wouldn't act this way. Seeing Su Hanyu frozen in shock, Granny Su patted her hand and said, this old lady's tired, off to bed now. Think it over carefully. Su Hanyu froze for a moment before instinctively reaching out to steady Granny Su, but Granny Su merely gestured toward the window, signaling she didn't need assistance. Puzzled, Su Hanyu turned around only to find Song Jincheng had halted mid-step, standing motionless while gazing intently in her direction. Though the distance made Song Jincheng's expression unclear, Su Hanyu could sense him smiling at her and found herself mirroring that smile without thinking. At that very moment, Granny Su's words echoed in her ears once more. If a man and woman aren't just friends, what else could they be? Ever since her rebirth, Su Hanyu had been living on edge every waking moment. She feared being dragged back into marriage, terrified that all her efforts would come to nothing, and most of all, dreaded that everything since her rebirth might just be a dream. Occasionally, Su Hanyu would ask herself, what exactly was she afraid of? She'd posed this question countless times, and the only answer that ever came to mind was her fear of losing herself. She'd had enough of that past life, giving her all yet being despised by everyone, devoid of any self-worth. That's precisely why marriage had never crossed her mind. When Granny Su asked, she found herself at a loss. Her tangled thoughts seeped into her dreams, turning them into chaotic messes. It felt like wading through quicksand, each step precarious, never knowing when the next might plunge her into suffocating depths. Gasping for air, another memory surfaced in her mind. It was 1 month before her college entrance exams when the nightmares began haunting her nightly. The dreams resurrected memories of her past life, Madame Shin's torment, the insolence of the Shin siblings, and chaotic trivialities that coiled around Su Hanyu like creeping vines, leaving no room for anything else. As time passed, the vines transformed into puppet strings, manipulating her exhausted self into a marionette. The strings carved into her flesh, stripping away her former elegance and composure. Everyone only blamed her for not trying hard enough or being resolute, while turning a blind eye to the real culprits pulling the strings. The relentless nightmares caused Su Hanyu to waste away, her spirit withering along with her gaunt frame. Just then, Song Jincheng unexpectedly appeared before her with a handful of morning glories. They say these flowers have magic. They can banish nightmares and bring peaceful sleep. This is just right for you. Su Hanyu couldn't help but laugh as she gazed at the morning glories still glistening with dew. Aren't you supposed to be a materialist warrior? Grandpa Song will scold you if you mess with these flowers, Mom. To everyone's surprise, Song Jincheng magically produced a small pouch and grinned at Su Hanyu. A materialist warrior naturally comes prepared with medicine for you. Don't worry, the doctor confirmed there are no side effects, won't interfere with your studies. As for these morning glories, consider it a materialist's rare moment of idealism. No big deal anyway. Song Jincheng swayed the flowers playfully before holding them out to Su Hanyu. Su Hanyu reluctantly accepted them and tried to pay, only to be refused by Song Jincheng. With just 7 days of vacation, Song Jincheng brought her fresh morning glories every single day. Though Su Hanyu teased Song Jincheng for believing in such things, she still bought a small vase specifically to arrange the morning glories in. Whether it was the medicine or the morning glories effect, Su Hanyu truly stopped having nightmares and could finally sleep soundly through the night. She thought the morning glory deliveries would end after 7 days. But unexpectedly on the 8th day, a child appeared holding the flowers and earnestly told her, "Brother Song asked me to give these to Sister Su." Su Hanyu was about to refuse when the child spoke up earnestly. "Brother Song covered my grandpa's medical bills. He said this counts as payment for the flowers I deliver to you every day. If you don't accept them, he won't pay the bills." Left with no choice, Su Hanyu had to accept the arrangement. When she later called to ask Song Jincheng about it, he responded with nonchalance, "That kid's got too much pride to accept handouts comfortably. Didn't I come up with the perfect win-win solution? Would Sister Su really have the heart to turn down a child?" The childlike tone of that last sentence finally made Su Hanyu burst into laughter. Only after her college entrance exams did she learn the morning glories in South City grew near the boy's home, but were over 10 kilometers from Song Jincheng's residence. The boy could reach her in just an hour, while Song Jincheng needed 3. For those 7 days, he rose before dawn each morning to pick the freshest, most beautiful morning glories, determined to deliver them at their prime. The morning glories from years ago seemed to mysteriously work their magic once again. Bang! As chaotic thoughts faded away, tranquil hues of purple and white gradually filled the dreamscape, lulling Su Hanyu into deep slumber. For several consecutive days, Shenlin never reappeared before Su Hanyu. Meanwhile, Su Hanyu juggled company affairs while accompanying Granny Su for medical treatment, taking the opportunity to get her a comprehensive checkup. Fortunately, the doctor examined her and said Granny Su was just exhausted from overwork at her age, and would be fine with proper rest. Granny Su kept grumbling as we left the hospital. "I told you it wasn't serious. See, we just wasted good money on nothing. Times are tough these days. Young ladies should spend on themselves instead of wasting money on an old woman like me." Song Jincheng supported Granny Su while speaking up for her. "Granny Su, don't you worry about the money. We'd never let you go without, no matter what." Just as she was about to board the car, a familiar voice suddenly called out from nearby, "Hanyu." Su Hanyu shuddered at the sound, turning to see her parents standing beside Shenlin. The moment she recognized Hanyu, Mrs. Su rushed forward with tears glistening in her eyes. "Hanyu, it's really you. Let me take a good look at you, dear." Su Hanyu appeared flustered as she struggled to steady her voice. "Mom, what brings you and Dad here? If we hadn't come, were you planning to stay away forever, Mr.?" Su stormed over, his gaze toward Song Jincheng filled with wariness. "Shaolin told me everything. You're the one who took Hanyu away, aren't you? Do you realize I could call the police on you?" Madame Su quickly grabbed her husband's arm and scolded him. What nonsense are you saying? Who was it that kept regretting driving Hanyu away back then? Now that we've finally found Hanyu, must you really drive her away again? Father Su glared at Mother Su and said angrily. I initially thought she'd met with foul play or was being coerced. Turns out she ran away on a childish whim, and carrying on with other men. In the old days, she'd have been punished by drowning, had enough to say. Granny Su raised her voice, glaring at Su's father with eyes blazing in fury. You drove your own daughter away, yet you're pinning all the blame on her, 5 years apart, and all you've got as a father are accusations. Did you ever ask how hard it's been for a young girl to survive out there, how much she's suffered, Mr. Su froze momentarily before snapping back. She brought this on herself, she deserves every bit of it. Seeing Granny Su about to lose her temper again, Su Hanyu grasped the old woman's hand and took a deep breath. I'm the one suffering, but even if I endure the worst hardships out there, I won't obey you and return to marry Shenlin. After all, in your eyes, a daughter who can't marry Shenlin might as well be dead, isn't that right? Almost the instant these words were spoken, Su Hanyu's father raised his hand and struck her hard across the face. Everyone froze in shock. Even Su's father stared at his own hand with disbelief. Hanyu. Song Jincheng immediately turned to look at Su Hanyu's face, his heart aching as he spoke. Let me take you to see a doctor. Su Hanyu stopped Song Jincheng, holding back tears as she spoke. I'll take this slap. Since he loves Shenlin so much, he might as well adopt him as his son and disown me as his daughter. Mark my words, I won't go back, and I certainly won't marry Shenlin. I'll pay every cent I owe, but the rest of the time, you can consider your daughter dead. With those words, Su Hanyu immediately helped Granny Su into the car. Song Jincheng's face darkened as he glared at Su's parents. Uncle, aunt, if you had even an ounce of parental love for Hanyu, why not try to understand what she's been through? If you insist on being stubborn, then Hanyu's decision to leave will undoubtedly be the wisest choice she's ever made. Having said his piece, Song Jincheng didn't linger. He turned and got straight into the car. After all the commotion, Su Hanyu ultimately accepted Song Jincheng's proposal and temporarily moved into the Song residence with Granny Su, to everyone's surprise. Su's father somehow discovered Jincheng Song's true identity and made a huge scene, alerting the elder Mr. Song. The elder Mr. Song, who had maintained an impeccable reputation all his life, was furious to be accused in his twilight years of condoning his grandson's seduction of an innocent girl. But after Weihai Song explained everything, the old patriarch fell silent for a long moment before addressing Hanyu Su directly. Hanyu, shall I intervene to send them away? Su Hanyu shook her head and spoke up. No need, I'll handle this. Despite this, old Master Song feared Su's father might confine Hanyu again, so he simply invited them all to the Song family's reception hall. After 5 long years, this marked Su Hanyu's first composed reunion with Shenlin, Lin Yu, and her parents. The group sat together as old Master Song broke the silence first. 5 years have passed, and to prevent you from being strangers to your own daughter, perhaps you should look through these first. A photo album was brought forward, revealing snapshots of Su Hanyu's life over those 5 years, from selling hair ribbons and learning embroidery to pulling all-nighters for exams, then gradually building her own little studio, receiving college acceptance letters, and winning awards. In every photo, Su Hanyu never seemed to rest, constantly busy yet always radiating vibrant energy, her face alive with unyielding enthusiasm. She was almost unrecognizable compared to the Su Hanyu of the past. Su Hanyu instinctively glanced at Song Jincheng, only to find him offering her a reassuring smile. Granny Su chimed in from the side. The first time I met Hanyu, she had just arrived in Nanchang, couldn't speak the local dialect and had all her money stolen. Imagine a young girl, alone in a strange place without speaking the language. You can picture the hardships she faced. I offered to lend her money for the trip back, but she refused. She told me she risked her life escaping, and would rather die out here than go back. You're all forcing her to marry Shenlin. Did anyone even ask why she's against it, Mr. Su steadied his breath before speaking. What else could it be? She's just too full of herself, thinking she's too good for Xiaolin in every way. Has she even looked around? There's not a single person in the whole county who's better than Xiaolin. Do you really think we'd steer our own daughter wrong? Chapter 12. Song Jincheng began to speak. So in your eyes, Uncle Su, is your own daughter really that worthless? She doesn't deserve better, not worthy of education, not worthy of work, not worthy of living as she pleases. In your eyes, is she only good enough to be a housekeeper who cooks and cleans? Father Su abruptly stood up, fuming. who are you to judge how I raise my own daughter? Besides, isn't this how every daughter is raised? They all turn out perfectly happy. Then why don't you ask if mom is happy? Suhanyu also stood up, meeting her father's gaze as she spoke. She's been the perfect woman in your eyes for decades. Ask her if she's truly content, thrilled to spend decades trapped at home washing, cooking, sewing, and scrubbing, proud of mastering so many skills. Yet in your eyes I'm still just a useless woman who only knows how to ask for money. Father Su grew even angrier, slamming the table as he shouted, "What's she so upset about? She doesn't have to lift a finger for food or clothes. What's the big deal about doing a little work? What, am I supposed to do it instead of her? I'm a grown man, I'm not happy about this." A firm voice cut through Mr. Su's words. He paused momentarily before turning to see Mrs. Su, who had risen unnoticed. "I saw Hanyu the day she left. I was the one who let her go and covered her tracks. Hanyu was right, I'm not happy about this. I don't need you to survive. I've got 2 hands and 2 feet. People would call me capable. I married you, yet you think all I do at home is eat and laze around without lifting a finger. You complain about work stress, but what about me? Managing social obligations, laundry, cooking, cleaning, caring for elders. None of that is exhausting. What gives you the right to judge me like this?" Mother Su's words trailed off as tears began rolling down her cheeks unbidden. She took a deep breath and said, "Mark my words. If anyone dares force Hanyu to marry Shinlin again, I'll stake my very life to make them pay for those words. My life has been hard, but my daughter won't suffer the same fate. She was capable of getting into university and graduating, just as she was capable of running her own business and making money. My daughter is leagues ahead of any group of men. What right does anyone have to force her to give up everything?" With these words, Mother Su stepped forward to stand before Suhanyu, shielding her daughter without hesitation in a mother's protective stance, a defense 25 years overdue. Shinlin rose to his feet and said urgently, "I never asked Hanyu to give up everything, alright, but you're the one who took my admission letter." Suhanyu fixed her gaze on Shinlin and suddenly asked, "Shinlin, I have a question for you. Really, search your conscience before you speak. That day on the hillside, did you really think I pushed Linyu down?" Hearing this, Linyu instinctively turned to Shinlin, her heart tightening with tension. Seeing Shinlin remain silent, Suhanyu couldn't help but let out a mocking laugh. "Look, you know that's not true, Shinlin. You think I'm heartless. But the cruelest and most selfish one here is you. You clearly have feelings for me, yet because this marriage was forced on you by your mother, you deny your own heart and blame everything on me. You're the one who ignored and belittled me, then schemed to pressure me when I tried to call off the engagement. You knew damn well I didn't push Linyu, yet you pinned it on me just to force me to stay, so you could conveniently take my admission letter. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, repaying a debt while keeping me under your thumb. You preach about respecting me, then demand I tolerate her because her father did you a favor. I'm my own person, not your property. How dare you use your favors to control me?" Shinlin opened his mouth to argue, but the words caught in his throat. Suhanyu took a deep breath and spoke, "I've said my piece. If you insist on keeping this up, if I escaped once, I can do it again. I can outlast you all if I choose to." The harsh words seemed to age Su's father instantly. He staggered back and collapsed into his chair before murmuring with closed eyes, "You're right. The debt of gratitude is mine alone. It has nothing to do with you or your mother. If you're unwilling, then let it be." The farce finally came to an end. Shinlin tried to speak, but Linyu's shouting left him no choice but to leave. As she passed by Suhanyu, she caught a faint whisper of "I'm sorry." Those 2 words, Suhanyu had waited decades for them, lifetimes even, yet now, hearing them stirred not a single ripple in her heart. Su's parents wanted to head back, but old Master Song insisted they stay and enjoy the sights of North City first. Suhanyu stood beneath the eaves, gazing absent-mindedly at the birds flitting among the trees. Song Jincheng approached her side and asked curiously, "What's caught your eye?" Meeting Song Jincheng's gaze, Suhanyu suddenly smiled. "This courtyard looks a bit empty to me. What do you think about planting some flowers? Morning glories would be perfect." Song Jincheng seemed momentarily enchanted, stammering in response, "Okay then." Seeing Song Jincheng like this, Suhanyu found it even more amusing and leaned closer to meet his gaze. How long would that kind last? The barely veiled implication made Song Jincheng instantly grasp her meaning. He gently took Suhanyu's hand and said earnestly, "If you're willing. Even for a lifetime." Story 2, when his family business suffered a devastating blow, to help him, I took matters into my own hands, deleting his childhood sweetheart's confession and forcing our arranged marriage. When he learned the truth, his hatred for me knew no bounds. Though we were husband and wife, we became complete strangers. He said I'd ruined his life, the toxic marriage drained my spirit, and I died before turning 30. When I opened my eyes again, I'd miraculously been reborn at the moment his family business collapsed. This time I won't make choices for him, I'm living my own life. 1. At what was supposed to be my birthday banquet, Su Lingjun arrived with Yan Wan as his date, the picture-perfect couple. So this is Su Lingjun's unforgettable first love. She looked around with sparkling eyes, convinced she was about to enter high society. Little did she know, the Su family business had suffered devastating losses and was on the verge of bankruptcy. Without a substantial capital injection, they'd soon be unable to afford even the clothes on their backs. Clearly, Lingjun Su remained completely oblivious to the impending crisis. Otherwise, with all these big shots gathered here, he should be busy networking to see if anyone would lend him a helping hand. Instead, he's putting on airs like some spoiled young master, flaunting his arm candy everywhere. Exactly, in the business world, there's no such thing as goodwill, everyone's in it for profit. One less person to share the pie is always welcome. Who'd bother to warn him? I want to see if, without our political marriage this lifetime, he can still turn the tide with his tactics as he claimed in our past life. Yan Wan clung to his arm with a gentle, graceful smile. Su Lingjun once said what he loved most about Yan Wan was her artless innocence, pure as a flower. Back then, whenever he got drunk, his eyes would turn bloodshot as he listed all my faults before saying, "You ruined me. I never imagined you could be so malicious. Now everyone calls me a gold digger." Happy now, he seemed to have forgotten how overjoyed his parents were during the arranged marriage, and how desperately he'd pleaded for my help when his business was failing. Indeed, without me stirring the pot, they'd actually be together by now. I'm curious to see how Yan Wan, an art major, could possibly help him turn things around, drop the savior complex and embrace the petty life. I'll live my best life while casually observing his downfall. 2. Looks like your childhood sweetheart has found someone new. I shot Qin Yaozhou an annoyed look, as if he wasn't your childhood friend too. Aren't you two practically brothers from different mothers? Thick as thieves. The three of us grew up together, we're practically joined at the hip. So when the Su family ran into trouble, I did everything in my power to help. Our parents' generation maintained contact, though not particularly close. Even with close ties, no one would willingly put themselves at risk for others, but a marriage alliance would change everything. That's why I chose to be with him, even though I did have genuine feelings for him, but it was nothing more than affection. Back then, I couldn't understand how marriage could make someone become a completely different person. Before marriage, he was gentle, considerate, and attentive to every detail. After marriage, he became brutally honest with his words. If he truly didn't want to, he could have refused, couldn't he? Instead of agreeing to marry me only to torment me to death afterward. You can't have your cake and eat it too, wanting both love and money. Qin Yaozhou shook his head with a mocking laugh. I don't have any dim-witted brothers like that. Still, I should thank him. I took a sip of champagne and smiled, for sending business your way. Profit drives merchants. Does Su Lingjun really wonder why his family business collapsed so swiftly? Even a minor misstep, left uncorrected, will have these vulture-like merchants circling to tear you apart. Starting tomorrow, I'll officially join the family business. If I cross paths with them, I won't hesitate to take my share too. The cake baked with old grudges seemed to have a peculiar flavor. 3. Su Lingjun also joined the family business as its CEO. Yet he clearly had no clue how to salvage a failing enterprise, still clinging to his spoiled young master ways, flying into rages at the drop of a hat, treating everyone like they're his family's employees. Perfect, the talent you don't want. I'll take them. Yan Wan joined the company as a secretary, and the two became inseparable, their relationship heating up rapidly. At the dinner gathering, everyone fawned over the perfect match, a brilliant man and a beautiful woman. Su Lingjun was thoroughly enjoying the flattery. Little did he know, everyone was just waiting to see him make a fool of himself. I'm growing rather weary of this spectacle, watching the oblivious pair basking in everyone's fawning admiration. Shooting a sidelong glance at Qin Yaozhou. Don't invite me to these kinds of gatherings anymore. Qin Yaozhou chuckled. Not your scene, I smiled back, swamped, under the dim lighting. Qin Yaozhou's expression was unreadable. Too busy for what? Can't spare time for a decent meal, yet you'll show up just to watch these clowns make fools of themselves. I chuckled dismissively, as if I'd tell him I'm now tackling the tough nut the Su family couldn't crack. the very prize the Cheens have been salivating over, ha ha ha, while you're here playing star-crossed lovers, I'm making my big money move. Why does young Master Cheen sound like a jilted husband? Qin Yaozhou remained silent, merely glancing at Su Lingjun with an amused smile. Heard you proposed, wedding bells are ringing, the crowd erupted in playful cheers. Shouldn't young Master Su treat everyone today? Who knows if young Master Su will still be allowed to attend bachelor parties after this? Hey sis, you keeping him in check or what? Su Lingjun basked in the spotlight, though she couldn't shake the feeling there were hidden meanings behind their words. Yan Wan, however, didn't pay it any mind at all, surrounded by a group of wealthy heirs. She felt absolutely euphoric. Nestling shyly against Su Lingjun, she murmured softly, meeting Lingjun is truly my greatest fortune. I heard you're his childhood friends. Thank you for looking after him all these years. I'll be taking over his care from now on. The words sounded grateful but carried territorial undertones, drawing everyone's attention to Qin Yaozhou and me. I waved it off. Listen to you. People might mistake us for Xiao Su's parents rather than childhood friends. With that introduction, the room erupted in laughter, even drawing a smirk from Qin Yaozhou. Su Lingjun finally sensed something was off. Tan, did I upset you? Why are you being so sharp with me? Yanwan covered her mouth and cooed playfully. Is big sister upset because I stole brother away from you? Such amateur tea brewing tactics. Did they really think I'd fall for that again in this lifetime? Not at all. You two deserve each other. May you stay happily entangled forever. Qin Yaozhou chimed in to smooth things over. She's just been swamped with work lately and feeling a bit stressed, Su Lingjun remarked. A woman's place is taking care of her husband and children. Work matters should naturally be left to men. The crowd responded with awkward half-smiles, none voicing agreement. This left Su Lingjun, accustomed to being the center of attention, visibly unsettled. He frowned. So you're handling the Sanqing Bay project lately? I raised an eyebrow, neither confirming nor denying. He continued, this project's too big for you to handle. Just hand it over to me. We grew up together, I'd never screw you over. His presumptuous tone nearly made me burst out laughing. Seriously, how come I never realized Su Lingjun was practically immortal? Has he been alive since the Qing dynasty or what? My apologies. I chuckled, raising my glass. The contract's signed and construction begins shortly. No need to trouble young Master Su with such trifles. Su Lingjun's face grew more irritated. What's with this tantrum? Are you upset because I'm seeing someone? Knowing he'd never say anything decent, I quickly covered my mouth and pretended to gag. Excuse me, I feel sick. Need some fresh air. Aren't you buying? The words Su Lingjun blurted out were swallowed back down. I knew exactly what he wanted, for me to foot the bill. He's gotten used to doing things like this, though our families were equally well off. He had a younger brother to support, so his parents' allowance was never enough for his spending. That's why in our past lives, I was both his childhood friend and his personal ATM, but this ATM's out of service now, for the sake of his pride. He had no choice but to pay up obediently. Watching him bleed money was actually quite satisfying. Once outside, I dropped the drunken act completely, humming a tune while waiting for my ride. Gotta admit, this whole spectacle really helped me unwind after a grueling workday. After I left, Qin Yaozhou sent me a message. It showed Suling paying with a scowl while Yanwan was busy adding people on WeChat. I just smiled without saying anything. Surprisingly, Suling actually forwarded the payment receipt. P.S. Today's expenses. Normally, I'd have the sense to reimburse him, but guess what? This lady ain't handling finances anymore. Replied, congrats, young Master Su's being so generous. Must be true love with your girl. Su Lin still hasn't replied. No idea if she's pissed off. Ha ha ha. Seeing him fuming just made my day. Just like now I've no clue how those two got together. I was clueless back then too. The three of us attended the same university. Our parents always told us to look out for each other. During my free time from studies, I'd always bring Su Lingjun along for activities. Even so, I still don't know how those two actually met. Maybe it was at the New Year's gala, when Yanwan in that flowing red dress danced across the stage like a vision. That's why he told me, a money-grubbing mortal like me could never compare to an ethereal goddess who lives on ambrosia. It all makes sense now. Turns out I'm still all about the money. The Sanqing Bay project will net us at least 500 million when it's done. That's $500 million, enough to keep an army of pretty boys. Wrong idea. Men would only slow down my money-making. But Su Lingjun didn't seem to give up yet, even speaking with a tone of self-sacrifice. Since you've already signed the contract, I'll reluctantly work with you. We'll split the profits separately later. I nearly laughed out loud, the audacity. He must be desperate by now, the company's probably in the red. And if they don't cover the deficit soon, they'll be heading straight for bankruptcy liquidation. But why on earth would he think that condescending tone is appropriate when asking for help? Then again, why should I turn down easy money? If I'm making a profit, why bother sharing with others? Hard pass. No need to trouble President Sue with my little project. In other words, go find somewhere else to bother. I'm not at your service. Perhaps my sudden shift from my usual submissive demeanor left Su Lingjun unsettled. As he fell silent, he only said, Tan, why are you still upset? Think it over when you've cooled down. Back when I got angry, he'd always tell me to calm down first, then come back when I'd sorted my thoughts to give him an out. I used to think it showed his rationality and emotional maturity, but now I realize it just meant he didn't care. Since it didn't matter to them, my anger meant nothing. All that was needed was to pamper them like before once it was over. 5. I never expected our reunion to come so soon, at a cocktail party following an auction. At that moment, I'd just won the bid for a gemstone called Dusk Cloud. That carmine red gem cost me tens of millions. What could I do? The daughter of the Sanqing Bay project tycoon had her heart set on it. I'm not trying to bribe anyone, just looking to make a friend here. That's when I spotted Su Lingjun and Yan Wan in her short skirt with black stockings. Even Su Lingjun's perpetually aloof expression now carried a hint of distress as he scanned the crowded room, visibly at a loss for how to proceed. True to form, he'd always hated socializing, preferring to let others initiate conversation. In an instant, his status shifted. How should he maintain dignity while speaking to those who could alter his family's fortunes? Suddenly, he spotted me, his eyes lighting up. I remained composed, casually clinking glasses with the person before me. Tan, Su Lingjun called out urgently. I didn't miss that fleeting moment when Yanwan lowered her eyes, brimming with bitter jealousy and resentment. I remember, this was the exact look I used to wear most often in the past. It's the look of unwillingness, the unwillingness to accept that your beloved still carries another woman in his heart. But now that I've cut ties with them, why would Yanwan still look at me like that? How intriguing. If President Shin is busy, I won't disturb you further. No disturbance at all. It's just not the right time to talk. I'll schedule another meeting afterward. I do hope President Zhao will honor us with your presence. Naturally, after exchanging pleasantries, Zhao Chengyu took his leave with effortless grace. As the eldest son of the Zhao family, he now leads the household, having secured the Sanqing Bay project. I've earned his genuine respect. In business, it's always better to make friends than enemies. You never know when you might need someone. Su Lingjun frowned at me and whispered, the way he looks at you isn't right. Her words caught me off guard. My intentions aren't exactly pure either. Since when did business become about feelings? Seeing Su Lingjun's hesitant expression, I suddenly understood exactly what he wanted to say. In our past life, when he saw those men fawning over Yanwan, he wore the same genuinely worried expression. How foolish of me to only now see Su Lingjun's greedy nature, always wanting more while holding what she already has. Stepping outside the emotional whirlwind, I'm surprised by my own clarity. I realize the last remnants of resentment I held toward him are finally dissipating. He's no longer worth it. Just a spineless coward with no sense of responsibility. Just say what's on your mind. To my surprise, Su Lingjun visibly relaxed before hesitantly asking, Tan, would you consider selling me that gemstone you won at auction? You want it? Su Lingjun nodded. Yanwan likes it, and I want to give her the best. Not entirely impossible. Su Lingjun's face lit up. Perfect. Given our relationship, I'll give you the starting bid. I looked at him with a knowing smile. The starting bid was 5 million, I paid 50, and with just one word from him, it got slashed to 10%. Even fire sales don't work like this. He was right. In our past life, I'm the type who'd chase a penny through a keyhole. Otherwise, why would I be making him money so he can shower Yanwan with gifts? Oh, just kidding then. I clinked glasses and laughed. You've got quite the sense of humor, Mr. Su. Yanwan finally couldn't help interjecting. Lingjun isn't joking. Aren't you childhood friends? You won't even do this small favor. Wow, emotional blackmail much. Can't be blackmailed if I've got no morals to appeal to, sweet talker. We may be childhood friends, but we're not blood relatives. Even brothers keep clear accounts. Why should I foot a bill of tens of millions? What's in it for me? Su Lingjun pursed her lips as Yanwan nudged him with her elbow. Su Lingjun said, shares in the Su group. I shook my head. It's worthless. Su Lingjun clenched his fists. Staring at me wordlessly, Yenwan suddenly broke down. Don't you love him? Why won't you even do this much? I stood frozen, staring at Su Lingjun in disbelief as he turned his face away. So you did hear me. On his coming-of-age day, he got drunk and slumped over the garden table. Tens of thousands of roses blanketed the entire garden. I leaned close to his ear and whispered my girlish confession. I always thought he was unaware of it. In our past life, he never mentioned it either. That's why I don't blame him, but it turns out he knew all along. What a pathetic man, reaping all the benefits yet still moping around. Classic you, I smirked. Honey, I've got a long list of admirers. Where do you even rank? Su Lingjun looked pained. Please don't say that. I never meant to hurt you. I shook my head with a smile. 18-year-old Shintan had terrible taste, Yenwan said. It's fine, I can stay away from Lingjun. Just help him, please, playing hard to get. Think you're being clever, huh? No, you two are literally made for each other. And I, left to possess wealth and solitude, who doesn't know loneliness, Yenwan said. I know, you're just putting on a brave face. This gem was meant for Lingjun from the start, wasn't it? Is that what I thought? Funny, I don't recall. Su Lingjun looked at me with pity, and suddenly I realized where his shameless audacity came from. Seriously, he actually thought I liked him. That I was still the same Shintan from before, Yenwan explained. Dawn gazes at the sky, dusk watches the clouds, thinking of you when I walk, missing you when I sit. This is the origin of the gem's name, and the message you wanted to convey to Lingjun. Su Lingjun, no need to be strong anymore, your strength has arrived. I couldn't help but laugh at these two shameless lovebirds babbling nonsense. Pulling Luo ran over from her spectating. See what your beloved gemstone has done. It's caused me nothing but trouble. Luo Ran wiped the gossipy expression off her face, adopting her heiress demeanor. Do you have something to say about my taste? Just as Yenwan was about to speak, Su Lingjun grabbed her arm with a grimace. Well, this reaction clearly shows he recognizes Luo Ran, no longer the arrogant young master Su who couldn't remember anyone's face. His face blindness miraculously disappeared. A medical marvel for the history books. Then came the tedious flattery and hollow pleasantries. I was sick of hearing them, and couldn't bear to watch Su Lingjun's obsequious expression. Even the usually arrogant young master Su would wear the same common expression as anyone else when chasing after petty gains. 6. I still remember, the second year of our marriage, Su Lingjun detested socializing and had no patience for business negotiations, so he handed the company's full management over to me. Their relationship had already hit rock bottom at that point. I mistook this as his trust in me, naively believing that achieving some success would earn me his special regard. During those initial days, he did treat me slightly better, but this so-called better treatment merely meant he stopped mocking me, nothing more. He still refused to acknowledge me properly. Looking back now, I was completely out of my mind back then. Not only did I throw myself wholeheartedly into the business, working diligently, but I even poured my own dowry into keeping the company afloat. My health deteriorated from the endless grind and constant grief, yet I still pushed myself to the limit, drinking myself half to death just to land a contract. That's how I mastered the art of social finesse, through those tough lessons. I owe him my gratitude, otherwise I'd never have become this adept in the business world. I still remember, it was a rainy night. Autumn rains bring winter's chill. And there I was returning from a client dinner in thin clothes. Entering the villa through the courtyard gate, Su Lin sat on the balcony, lost in melancholic reverie, dressed elegantly, burning incense and brewing tea with refined grace. Exhausted, the aroma of tea made my legs heavy with reluctance, and my heart ached with unspoken sorrow. In the business world, being a woman won't earn you any special treatment, so I drank myself under the table and endured all those snide remarks. But hey, no complaints, I landed the deal after all. Lin Zhen. They all say no man would ever want a strong-willed woman, only delicate, submissive ones. I tried playing meek to defuse the tension between us, but Su Lingjun just stared at me coldly, her words sending chills down my spine. Who exactly are you putting on this act for? Ever heard of the ugly woman trying to imitate the famous beauty's frown? It makes me sick. She would never reek of alcohol like this. I couldn't tell which was colder, the autumn rain or my heart. Is this really the only way? Su Lingjun nodded, never once looking in my direction the entire time. Nothing hurts more than a dead heart. From then on, I stopped trying to mend our relationship, only questioning myself in the stillness of night. Did I make a mistake? Maybe. So in this lifetime, I've corrected my mistakes and stayed on the right path, just to see how far they can actually go. 7. Truth be told, I eventually didn't have the energy to keep up with Su Lingjin's affairs. Managing projects isn't as easy as they make it look in movies. It's not just sipping tea and chatting before everything wraps up. In the following days, I was swamped with work from dawn till dusk. Unlike my past life, I was in remarkably high spirits this time around. Having lived through a lifetime already, I developed razor-sharp business acumen. This project will make people filthy rich. This project will bankrupt you down to your last penny. This project is neither here nor there. Information is the wind beneath a businessperson's wings. Accuracy lets you ride the wind to success. Even a pig can soar when the wind's right. And I'm no pig, I'm human. Qin Yaozhou was stunned by my sharp insight, his tone laced with newfound respect. How did you get this intel? I smirked. Is this your first day in business? What kind of amateur question is that? How could he forget the basic rule, never question the source of information? Qin Yaozhou chuckled. That's so like you. That's me. Maybe, even in my past life. Before my mind went haywire, I was quite the business whiz. Even when love struck later on, my career kept climbing steadily, though back then, Qin Yaozhou's attitude toward me wasn't nearly as good as it is now. Unlike the present, he didn't build his career domestically but pursued his artistic dreams abroad instead. Who would have thought this man, now dressed like a wolf in sheep's clothing, this so-called elite, used to roam the world with shoulder-length hair holding art exhibitions in his past life? He was like a ghost. From our wedding till his death, I only saw him once. Back then, he stood at a distance, eyes full of detachment, sighing, I almost didn't recognize you. At that time, Su Lingjin's daily reproaches had crushed my self-esteem to dust, leaving me barely clinging to a frosty facade. I remember we parted on bad terms that day. I never saw Qin Yaozhou again after that, but now he tells me, this is the real you. I think some things have truly changed. At the very least, I won't let myself fall into that situation again. 8. Time flies. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. 3 years was enough for me to expand my business network. Drawing from my past life's experiences, I built extensive connections. The Shin family skyrocketed to become City A's wealthiest dynasty. Remember, this top spot previously belonged to the Luo family. Luo Ran scammed me out of money several times for this, and it was Luo Ran who accidentally let slip the news about Su Lingjin. Her distant cousin was keeping a mistress named Yanwan, that very same Yanwan. Things have gotten messy lately. She's pregnant and pressuring him into marriage. But that distant cousin was always a good-for-nothing, living off family dividends. The family's resources never come without strings attached. His marriage was arranged by the elders. Naturally, I couldn't make any promises to Yanwan, but Yanwan's actions truly took me by surprise. She printed out the ultrasound report and distributed it at the Luo Corporation. What on earth is she? Luo Ran sneered. Desperate, aren't you? That person never worked for Luo Corporation in the first place. What good would her making a scene do? Probably fell for that guy's tall tales and actually believes Luo Corporation belongs to him. So Luo Ran seized the opportunity to suspend her aunt and uncle, making them deal with this mess. In reality, Luo Ran shrugged. I've had enough of them, useless at best, always holding us back at worst. If it weren't for this bloated family business, how could you have possibly overtaken us? Just 3 years, I burst out laughing. Impressive, huh? Damn impressive. Luo Ran pondered for a moment. The path of emotionlessness, is it really that powerful? I nearly choked on my own spit. What kind of Xinsha novels have you been reading? Luo Ran waved her hand dismissively. Men only slow down my money-making. Do I have too many of them in my life? Get out of here. When have you ever been heartbroken over a man? Yeah, I guess so. Luo Ran eagerly started gossiping with me. Among the 3 childhood friends, I've had the most successful career, followed by Qin Yaozhou. Instead of building his career locally, he gave up all his connections here and moved to City B to work in e-commerce. Now he's finally getting somewhere, with his career really taking off. We still hang out occasionally, but by unspoken agreement, we never bring up Su Lingjin. Luo Ran told me those two broke up not long after getting together. Because the Su family went bankrupt, it didn't last a year under Su Lingjin's management. Without Su's interference, the bankruptcy might have been delayed by 2 years. After the bankruptcy, Su Lingjin still dreamed of making a comeback from scratch. Isn't that how it always goes in the novels? The CEO went bankrupt, wallowed in despair for a while, then turned over a new leaf and built an even bigger empire from scratch. But fiction remains just fiction. Su Lingjin's new startup was barely scraping by. He seemed to have tried reaching out, But I was swamped. Those brief text messages slipped my mind completely. 9. The chance to meet again felt nothing short of miraculous. It was at Yenwan's wedding. I can't imagine what state of mind Sulin was in when she attended. As for me, I just went with Luoran for the spectacle. The corporation's operations were running smoothly now, no longer requiring my hands-on management for every detail. I need rest too, hoping to live out my natural lifespan this time around. So when Luoran asked me to keep her company, I agreed without hesitation. Gatherings only feel lively when you're with familiar faces. Yenwan made quite a scene, but ultimately got her way into the Luo household, just without a marriage certificate or grand ceremony. Just a handful of guests attended, along with a prenuptial agreement. In other words, even if she gave birth to this child, she'd gain nothing. Luoran seated me at the head table, while Su Lingjun was placed farthest from the stage. Yenwan stood in her wedding dress, smiling bashfully with a slight bow. Her pregnancy was already showing. Luo Fei, her husband, remained expressionless at this moment. Rumor had it that to marry Yenwan, what little shares he originally owned had all been revoked. Curious about Su Lingjun's reaction, I turned just in time to meet his utterly desolate gaze. I nodded with a smile, though inwardly cringing. Getting caught spectating was just my luck. That expression was all too familiar. Su Lingjun wore the exact same look in our past life. Back then, he lived in a mansion, sipping imported liquor by the floor-to-ceiling windows, exuding the melancholic air of a wealthy young heir. Now, life's hardships have left his skin rough and dark circles shadowing his eyes. His stubble shows faint traces of a recent shave. His slightly wrinkled clothes appear unkempt. Even after Yenwan's marriage, it still breaks his heart, tossing and turning all night. Sleep never came. Seems like it was true love after all. The wedding ceremony was kept simple too. After exchanging vows, the bride and groom went to change outfits. Feeling rather listless, I told Luoran I needed some air and headed to the garden. No sooner had I sat down than Su Lingjun appeared. By the time I noticed him, it was too late to avoid him, so I feigned surprise. What a coincidence. Su Lingjun shook her head. Actually, I came specifically for you. For me, I chuckled. Though today's hardly my wedding day, noticing Su Lingjun's expression, I quickly added, sorry, didn't mean that as a dig. Try to look on the bright side. I'm at a loss for words here. I know exactly how stubborn Su Lingjun is. Even after Yenwan got married in his past life, he still couldn't let go. Perhaps it's true what they say, the unattainable always seems more desirable. I don't have feelings for her anymore. Su Lingjun explained, that's good. It's great you've come to terms with it. I froze for a moment, but wasn't entirely convinced. This must just be Su Lingjun's saving face. Otherwise, why would he look so desolate? Who'd believe he isn't heartbroken? If only I hadn't seen that text message. Su Lingjun's words hit me like a thunderbolt, sending my thoughts spiraling out of control. Why, though? The man who blamed me for deleting the message, the one who couldn't let it go, who claimed I'd ruined his entire life. How could he say such things? The texts remain, but he's changed. Su Lingjun spoke softly, as if finally finding someone to confide in. Soon after we got together, I realized I might have fallen in love with an idealized version of her. She's materialistic, money-driven, and vain. After the company hit rough waters, she showed her true colors, constantly complaining and even embezzling funds for luxury purchases. Back when the business was already struggling, not only did she refuse to help, I cut him off. Tired of his bitter husband routine. Enough, you made this choice, didn't you? Yeah. Su Lingjun glanced at me before turning her gaze to the sky. Sometimes I wonder, what if you just deleted that text message? It wouldn't have changed anything, I said flatly. You'd still be hung up on her. Even if you could never have her, you'd still talk about her every damn day. All the while, resentment toward me simmered. You know my phone passcode. If you saw it, you'd. I shook my head. No, I wouldn't go through your phone. In my past life, I truly never checked his phone, but after sending the text, Yenwan also called. I accidentally hit the answer button and ended up hearing her heartfelt confession. Back then, I simply thought they weren't right for each other. I was the only one who could truly help Su Lingjun. Looking back now, I realize how arrogant I was. Su Lingjun lowered her head. Lately, I've been feeling a bit dazed. It's like living in a carefree place where I don't have to worry about work, just doing things I enjoy, yet I remain ungrateful, filled with daily resentment and anger. I lashed out with cruel words at someone who genuinely cared for me. Tell me, if you had deleted that text message, would things be different now? I smiled faintly. Mr. Su, seems you need a psychiatric evaluation. Su Lingzhen's face was utterly lifeless, but I'd lost all interest in staying. Need some air. Better than giving yourself a heart attack. 10. Pathetic. It took me 2 lifetimes to finally see clearly. Su Lin never loved me, nor did he love Yan Wan. The only person he ever truly loved was himself, whether in life or in love. He always demanded nothing but the best, so in your past life, you married me to maintain your wealthy lifestyle. While pining for that unattainable love, now in this life, you're with Yan Wan and have fleeting affection, yet your heart still yearns for prosperity. The world seldom offers perfect choices, so now he's left with neither love nor comfort. I raise my glass to the moon, toasting to life's blessings. Here's to the hard-working version of myself. My past self was foolish, but I won't blame her. She was just trapped in an impossible situation with no way out. Even so, she still created jobs, offered generous salaries, and provided benefits for many people. She simply couldn't love herself. In her youth, alcohol wrecked her health. Later, marital strife shattered her spirit. Crushed by both, she died at 29. They say life begins at 30. In my past life, I never stood tall. This time around, I'm standing proud. Honestly, I'm a bit resentful. And yes, I'll admit to some petty thoughts. I just wanted to see if he'd really thrive without my unwanted affection. Like he claimed he would. Seeing it now, damn satisfying. But I know my fate in the past life was nobody's fault but my own. Should have minded my own business. As the ancients said, to alter another's destiny is to bear their karma and suffering. Now free from that burden, I'm finally living my own life. Absolutely exhilarating. Even more satisfying than watching Su Lingzhen's misfortune. 11. Life keeps getting better. And everyone loves to add icing on the cake. Now, the Shin family business is preparing to expand overseas. I collaborated with Yao Shouqin on this aspect. He started building his overseas network years ago. When he approached me for collaboration with such a lucrative opportunity, I naturally couldn't say no. Who would turn down extra profit? Luo Ran also met her soulmate, and the two fell deeply in love, getting married shortly after. She once asked me, "Are you planning to stay single forever?" I smiled and said, "You can't force fate." Luo Ran wholeheartedly agreed and began gushing about her husband with sweet pride. Of course, they also made sure to mention the affairs between Su Lingzhen and Yan Wan. Not long after the wedding, Yan Wan suffered an unexpected miscarriage, yet Luo Fei showed no remorse. In fact, he seemed relieved. He promptly moved out with Yan Wan, only to soon take up with another woman and cast her aside like worthless trash. Instead of flaunting his status as a young master, parading his female companions around for all to see, Luo Ran sighed in exasperation. Her taste in men is terrible. Su Lingzhen is no saint either. The company he started cut corners, fell for shady middlemen's lies, and ended up laundering money for overseas criminals. That's something I never saw coming, Luo Ran remarked. 10 years in prison. He'll be pushing 40 by the time he gets out. This serves as a wake-up call. We must abide by the law, Luo Ran scoffed. Cut the crap. At this level, with countless eyes watching, who'd dare? Exactly, who would dare? How could Su Lingzhen possibly dare? In my 29th year, with Su Lingzhen imprisoned, I finally broke free from the past and began shining on my own stage. Happy birthday, Tan Tan, came the message from Qin Yaozhou across the ocean. I replied with a smile. Thanks, same to you. The end. Story 2. The year Shen Yenzhou lost his memory. I lied to him and said I was his girlfriend. Later, we accidentally had a child. He was overjoyed and proposed to me on one knee, but when I thought my crush would finally have a result, he suddenly regained his memory. He blamed me for deceiving him, said he would never acknowledge this child, and had someone take me to have an abortion. On the operating table, I died with 2 lives. When I opened my eyes again, it was still the same hospital room as that day. 1. On the bed, Shen Yenzhou was still tightly closed-eyed. The atmosphere in the room was very oppressive. I remember the doctor said that if he didn't wake up today, he would likely become a vegetable. Mama Shen was quietly sobbing, while my mom was comforting her. There's still time, he will definitely wake up. I don't remember the details of Shen Yenzhou's awakening back then, but my mom was right, he will definitely wake up. When my mom turned around, she saw me staring blankly and waved at me. Nuanyuan, come over and talk to Yenzhou, let your Aunt Kai rest for a while. Upon hearing this, Mama Shen also looked at me. They were 2 elders who had always been very affectionate towards me. Even after Shen Yenzhou regained his memory, they always stood by my side. But me, want to refuse? but can't refuse now. Just as I was about to reach the bed, Shinyenjo's eyelids twitched. I never expected that one day he would look at me so calmly. In the previous life, after he regained his memory, his eyes always filled with various malice when he looked at me. We never had a good meal or a proper conversation again. He blamed me for being scheming and made it clear that he would never acknowledge the child in my belly. I knew I was in the wrong and accepted all of it, but why did he change his mind later? Why did he try to kill my child, that was also his own child? The intense emotions inside me made it impossible for me to stay calm. I looked away and instinctively took a step back. Mom Xing rushed forward excitedly. Not long after, Dad Xing and my father also arrived at the hospital. Shinyenjo woke up, which was a huge piece of good news for them. However, he had lost his memory. After crying, Mom Xing began to introduce him one by one. Yenjo, these are your Uncle Lin and Aunt Bai. Our families have been close friends for generations. This is Nuanyuan, your Uncle Lin's daughter, and also your. When it came to me, I suddenly snapped out of it and spoke up abruptly. Sister, too. It was an instinctive reaction. I haven't forgotten. In the previous life, Aunt Shin made the final decision. At this moment, I introduced myself to Shinyenjo as his girlfriend, but in reality, Shinyenjo already had a girlfriend. However, in Aunt Shin's eyes, this time's car accident was partly his girlfriend Su Xinlan's fault. It is said that a few days before the accident, Su Xinlan proposed to get engaged. Shinyenjo did not agree. In anger, Su Xinlan broke up with him and was preparing to go abroad. Shinyenjo had the accident on his way to the airport. Aunt Shin never liked Su Xinlan from the beginning, and now her prejudice against her deepened. She told me that using Shinyenjo's amnesia as an opportunity, we should build our relationship. Sometimes I wonder, even the elders from both families can see that I like Shinyenjo, but does he really not know? No, he should be aware of it. He just sees my feelings for him as the kind of affection a younger sister has for an older brother. In the previous life, Shin Mama's suggestion made my heart race. What made me unable to get over it was that Shinyenjo easily accepted this matter. During the time he was recovering in the hospital, he only wanted me to take care of him personally. We started with a lie, but it ended because he regained his memory. He believes I am a master of lies, and even the arrival of the child seems to be my plot. No matter how I explained, he didn't believe that night was really an accident. I have no credibility in his eyes anymore. Just Shinyenjo, you were harsh to me, and also to your own child. I touched my flat abdomen, and my heart felt as if it had been stabbed. That child, he hadn't even had a chance to grow a little, and he was gone. It's my fault. So, if I could do it all over again, how could I possibly let myself make the same mistake again? After a moment of Shinyenjo's accident, she followed the conversation. Yes, the two of you grew up together, closer than siblings. The elders talked about old stories and got carried away. Only Shinyenjo was silently staring at me with his deep black eyes. 3. The doctor quickly came to give him a full checkup, and I made an excuse to leave. I still felt like this was a dream until I walked out of the hospital gate, but I couldn't tell whether the concept of reincarnation was a dream, or the love and hatred with Shinyenjo was a dream. When I thought until my head was about to explode, my phone rang. Seeing the caller ID, I was stunned for a long time before answering the call. Chinshuha's voice on the phone was very urgent. Nuan Nuan, where are you? Chinshuha, you. How come you're calling me at this time? Chinshuha was my classmate in high school and once pretended to be my boyfriend. After knowing that Shinyenjo had a girlfriend, I wasn't willing to be outdone and told him that I was also in a relationship. Shinyenjo was momentarily stunned, but then quickly smiled. He didn't gently ruffle my hair, saying, "You're doing well, little girl, you've grown up." His tone was old-fashioned, although he wasn't much older than me. A few days later, he asked me to bring my boyfriend out to eat. I couldn't think of anyone else, so I asked Chinshuha to help. At the dinner table, Chinshuha was considerate and attentive. Shinyenjo joked, "He's better at taking care of you than I am." However, after the meal, he also asked me, "I can tell he likes you, but I can't tell if you like him." After hearing that, I felt a mix of bitterness and sourness in my heart, because, of course, I didn't like Chinshuha. I also didn't take Shinyenjo's words to heart. Not long after, Chinshuha really confessed his feelings to me. Although it was rejected in the end, he still insisted on continuing to be my good friend, until Shinyenjo regained his memory and looked down on me. Chinshuha once again expressed his feelings, but by then I was already pregnant, exhausted both physically and mentally, and had no time for anything else. Then after that, I died. don't ask so much, I want to see you, right now. Tell me where you are, pulling myself back from the memory. My head felt a bit stuck, because at this time, Shuha should have just been rejected by me and had gone on a business trip elsewhere. 4. After the phone call ended, an incredible idea filled my mind. If I could be reborn, could Shuha also be reborn? After all, only the later him would call me Nuanyuan. Before that, he always called me Lin Xianwan. Soon, my guess was confirmed. Shuha didn't make me wait long. As soon as he got out of the car, he ran towards me and gave me a strong hug, and the expression of surprise and joy on his face, only I could understand. I'm sorry, I was too excited. I had a terrible dream, in which you bled a lot. I was trapped in his 2 arms, slowly lowering my eyes. Both I and Shuha were reborn, but I don't want to recall those painful things again. Just a dream. Don't make such a big deal out of it, I said with a relaxed smile. Shuha looked at me for a while, then smiled. His eyes shone with determination, which was completely different from the despondent look he had when I rejected him in the previous life. You're right, but this dream made me realize that I need to be by your side to feel at ease. Nuanyuan, I'm not in a hurry, so don't rush to reject me, okay? I was scalded by the intensity in his eyes and instinctively pulled away from him, just when I didn't know what to say. A familiar and cold voice spoke from behind. Not good. It was Shenyanzhou. He was supported by his assistant as he walked over, his eyes never leaving me. This look is complicated. There is unfamiliarity, dependence, tenderness, and a little bit of grievance. But why was he upset? Shuha, you. After being shocked, Shuha looked at Shenyanzhou with suspicion. However, Shenyanzhou didn't look at him, and what he said next really surprised me. Although I'm temporarily amnesic, that doesn't mean I can't remember. I didn't believe what my mom said before, but just now, I did. He suddenly became very humble. Nuanyuan, I'm sorry, I temporarily forgot that I really like you, but before I remember, don't think about anyone else, okay? 5. I don't know what's wrong with Shenyanzhou. In the tense confrontation between him and Shuha, I fled in a panic. I ran back to my single apartment. 2 days later, my mom came to visit. After you left that day, Kai told Yanzhou that you were the person he liked, and he was chasing you, but then it turned out that he had amnesia, so you were angry, but now you've calmed down enough. Come with me to the hospital to see him. If the person being spread rumors about wasn't me, I would really want to applaud Kai's imagination. No wonder, Shenyanzhou suddenly went crazy that day. If I could do it all over again, why is he still so easy to be fooled with a lie? 2 days was enough for me to sort out my past and present. I believe his intention was not to take my life. It was me who was one-sided, chasing after him like a moth to a flame. He just doesn't love me anymore. I can't change the relationship between the 2 families, nor can I change others, so I can only change myself. I made up an excuse about the art studio job to my mom, and she turned around, looking at me in confusion. When Yanzhou had that incident, you were so worried. Why are you now making excuses not to even go take a look? Did you 2 have a fight? I felt a bit at a loss, unable to decide whether to laugh or cry. Mom, what's the point of arguing with someone who doesn't remember anything? It's really something important. Besides, he's fine now. Some truths are destined to remain known only to myself. Even though my mom knows me well, she would never imagine that I've reincarnated, but my mom is easy to please, whereas Shuha is not easy to brush off. Fortunately, I never intended to keep hiding it from him forever. In my previous life, after Shuha went on a business trip, I was already together with Shenyanzhou. He didn't comment on my choice, and even tried to scold me, hoping to wake me up from my self-deception. But at that time, Shenyanzhou, who had lost his memory, was completely focused on me. And I had already become addicted to it. With the support of the elders, I'm willing to take a chance. However, the outcome was not as expected. 6. I wasn't surprised that Shuha would come to the studio. In a few days, he saw a different storyline than in the past, and even a slow-witted person should have already figured it out. Nuanyuan, you are her. Looking back at his complex expression, I poured him a cup of tea and then nodded slightly. He suddenly stood up, his face full of shock. Trembling his lips, he seemed to have many things to say, but in the end, he only asked me in a low voice, then, do you still love him, Shenyanzhou? I lowered my eyes and smiled bitterly. I love my own life. Only after losing something do you truly understand what is most important. If I can't even save my own life, how could I possibly protect the child in my belly? Thinking about the child, I finally couldn't help but ask, Did I really die on the operating table later, Chinshua? Did he show up? What about my parents? If the two elders found out that it was Chinshua who sent people to take me for an abortion, leading to my death, how painful their hearts would be. Maybe after he regained his memory, I shouldn't have tried to fight for it. It was my own recklessness. I forced my eyes shut, and didn't notice Chinshua's pale face for a moment. I'm not sure. I felt an inexplicable sense of anxiety that day, and when I found you, something had happened to you, then. When I blinked, you were back again. Chinshua stared at me intently, his voice slightly agitated. Nuanyuan, this time, don't get in touch with him anymore. That way, you won't have a child, and you'll still be yourself. He will eventually regain his memory, and his girlfriend will come back. Then, I know, I gently interrupted him. I didn't want to talk about the past anymore, but suddenly, memories burst forth like a dam breaking. That day, Shinyanzhou's expression was already bad. Yet I was still lost in my wedding fantasies. I rushed over with a stack of wedding magazines, and he waved his hand, scattering all the magazines on the ground. He said he found me disgusting, and the next day he flew to the other side of the world to bring Su Xinlan back. I covered my face with my hands, truly not wanting to recall it anymore. After Chinshua left, I sat there for a long time, until the pot of tea had gone cold. Then, Shinyanzhou came. 7. When I saw him, I suddenly remembered that today was his discharge day. With his assistant's accompaniment, he toured the studio like a supervisor. Without making any sound, I composed myself and was about to ask him the purpose of his visit, but he suddenly turned around. His tone was sarcastic. Auntie said you're very busy, didn't have time to come and keep me company on my discharge day, but you still have the leisure to have tea and chat with other men. The last few words were particularly emphasized. So, he was already outside early. I instinctively frowned. I never said I was going, but I wanted you to come. Me, even the time we spent together that was fake was not long, but it was still deeply imprinted in my heart. This is the Shinyanzhou after amnesia. In front of me, he had no aura of the Shin Group's chairman, no sense of superiority, and his elegant face still had a bit of the youthful spirit from his youth. He was a proud man. Unfortunately, reality later smashed everything. And fake things were just fake. I clenched my fists. Chinyanzhou, your mother lied to you. I'm not the person you like. We just know each other since childhood. Not very familiar. Chinyanzhou suddenly fell silent, his pair of peach blossom eyes staring at me darkly. You're still angry. Me, Nuanyuan, no one can fool me. That day at the gate, I saw that man hugging your shoulder. At that moment, I believed what my mother said. And just now, the two of you were having tea and chatting. And I felt really uneasy inside. We're childhood friends, how could we not be familiar? If it weren't for experiencing bone-chilling pain and paying a heavy price, I wouldn't have been able to handle this Chinyanzhou at all. Take out my phone and scroll through Su Xinlan's photos in my social circle. Look carefully. She, Su Xinlan, is your girlfriend, the person you like. Shinyanzhou took a casual glance and said, I looked. But I didn't feel anything. Not sure. Let me look again. Oh. I see clearly, you're not as pretty as her. Me, oh no, the side effects of this lie seem worse. 8. Shinyanzhou started coming to my studio occasionally. I couldn't get rid of him. I was so angry I wanted to bite my teeth. Laughed at him. I had never listened to Shin's mother so much before. He earnestly explained, I'm not listening to anyone. I'm trusting my own heart. He paused, then softened his voice. I want to see you. I like watching you. I never realized before. He's actually quite talkative. After all, in the previous life, every day after we were together, I was always happy and never hid my affection for him. Often, the things to say were usually from me. And he just agreed. But what was the result? After he regained his memory, he denied everything, only remembering that I had deceived him. Thinking about this, I let out a cold laugh. But I don't want to see you anymore. You don't need to look at me. Just draw your picture. Focus on it. After losing his memory, his face has become thicker, but after I kept ignoring him for a few days, he finally couldn't hold back and asked me why I was being so cold towards him. I used the words he had said when he looked at Su Xinlan's photo before, because I don't feel anything. That sentence was still the most damaging, and Shinyanzhou didn't come around for several days after that. I couldn't help but feel relieved. Some people just can't be seen, otherwise, I wouldn't know what kind of mood to be in when facing them. His current sincerity and innocence would only make me go crazy. I constantly remind myself that everything that happened in the past life wasn't just a nightmare, it was real. Lin Nuans, stay sober. Unfortunately, the peaceful days didn't last for long. Shin Yenjo came again. This time, almost as soon as he came in, Chen Shuha also arrived. How come he's here? The look in Chen Shuha's eyes was full of disbelief and accusation, which made me frown involuntarily. Usually, Shin Yenjo came in the morning, while Chen Shuha came in the evening. So they never met each other, but today, for some reason, they coincided. I understood Chen Shuha's meaning. He didn't want me to have any connection with Shin Yenjo anymore, but I also didn't like his tone. Why can't I be here? 9. Shin Yenjo's hostility in his eyes was no less than Chen Shuha's. His thin lips were slightly pressed, his black eyes deep and unreadable. Chen Shuha narrowed his eyes, equally unyielding. Because she doesn't like me. This was directly pointing the finger at me. Shin Yenjo looked at me as if he were hurt, but quickly turned away again. Doesn't she like me? Then, does she like you? Then, both pairs of eyes turned to look at me. Good. I took a deep breath and coldly said, neither of you. Shin Yenjo, upon hearing this, immediately proudly lifted his chin. Wait, what is he being proud of? It's simply unbearable to watch. I sat back in the studio and started painting again, not wanting to pay any attention to them, but the more I tried to ignore them, the harder it was to do so. Besides, both of their voices were quite loud. Shin Yenjo, I don't care what you're going through, but you shouldn't bother Nuanyuan anymore. By what right are you telling me this? From what I've investigated, the two of you have already broken up. A former partner should act like a former partner. Chen Shuha's voice sounded very angry. That's between the two of us. It has nothing to do with you. Shin Yenjo lightly pushed back. That's none of your business. I don't need you to tell me what to do. Do you know how you lost your memory? It's because of another woman. Now you're meddling with Nuanyuan. What will you say when you regain your memory one day? You don't need to worry. I know what I'm doing. Even if I regain my memory one day, I'll only recognize Lin Nuanyuan. He said he only recognizes me. His hand trembled, ruining a painting. This should be the funniest sentence. Outside, Chen Shuha burst into laughter. You can't do it, you can't. Don't come looking for her again, or you'll only hurt her. I suddenly stood up from the chair and left the studio. Chen Shuha, I was afraid he would talk too much, but Shin Yenjo wouldn't let go of this issue. Chen Shua's eyes seemed a bit unfocused as he said softly, in my dream, you hurt Nuanyuan. She bled a lot. The floor was all covered with. Shin Yenjo frowned as he listened, then retaliated without hesitation. You're just as bad. I also had a dream, and the main culprit was you. Me? What kind of childish debate is this? Anybody with a primary school diploma wouldn't be this stupid. 10. Just as I was about to open my mouth and tell them both to get lost, Chen Shuha suddenly shouted, you're lying. He rushed towards Shin Yenjo and threw a punch. Shin Yenjo's cheekbone turned red immediately, and he quickly retaliated with a punch. The two of them quickly started fighting. I was stunned. After shouting until his voice was about to give out, they finally stopped. Shin Yenjo was still sitting on the ground, looking quite miserable. He said with a pained expression, I twisted my ankle. I can't get up. Haha, are you expecting me to help you up? That's impossible. Have your assistant come. I gave him a look of irritation and said to Chen Shuha, you go first. Chen Shuha had some scrapes on his face, but they didn't look serious. I was just tired of both of them, and I didn't want to see them anymore. Before leaving, Chen Shua's eyes looked especially hurt. Nuanyuan, you still favor him. I wanted to say I didn't, but he kept repeating those words in his mouth. You still can't forget him. You know the ending but still favor him. You will regret it. You will regret it. I just shut my mouth and went back to the studio, not wanting to say a single word. I don't know when Shin Yenjo left. I don't know how he explained it to his family when he went back. Anyway, that night, my mom called me back home. The meal was quiet, but after dinner, she pulled me into her room. She took out a photo album. It was one I had personally compiled before, our exclusive photo album with Shin Yenjo. Did mom misunderstand? Xianwan, you don't like Yenjo anymore. This was a question that had to be faced sooner or later. Fortunately, I had already thought of a way to deal with it. Yeah, a single word. I don't know when Shin Yenjo left. I don't know how he explained it to his family when he went back. Anyway, that night, my mom called me back home. The meal was quiet, but after dinner, she pulled me into her room. She took out a photo album. It was one I had personally compiled before, our exclusive photo album with Shin Yenjo. Did mom misunderstand? Xianwan, you don't like Yenjo anymore. This was a question that had to be faced sooner or later. Fortunately, I had already thought of a way to deal with it. Yeah, I don't like him anymore. I heard it with my own ears. I was still a bit surprised. Can you tell me why Yenjo is now very serious about you? He even came to see me and your dad, Mom. I gently interrupted her and said carelessly, the reason is simple, I thought it through. He must really like Su Xinlan, otherwise he wouldn't have rushed to the airport to chase after her. Although he now has amnesia, it's said that people with amnesia change their personalities, and you can't trust them. I think you should try to persuade Kai's mom, whether it's early or late. He will regain his memory. It's better for Kai's mom to accept Miss Su sooner rather than later. My mom was easily sidetracked by me, and also thought that Yenjo without his memory was unreliable. That's right, he's not only unreliable now, but also very annoying. 11. Yenjo keeps coming to the studio to drink tea, using the excuse that he was beaten on my turf. Sometimes I just think, why did he become so shameless after losing his memory? Even scolding him won't make him leave. Also, why didn't he come back after reincarnating? If he reincarnated and remembered everything, I wouldn't have to go through this torment. Right, if he regains his memory, he won't bother me anymore. After thinking for a long time, I decided to contact Su Xinlan, but I didn't expect Chen Shuha to contact her before me. Nuanyuan, I don't want you to be hurt by Shin Yenjo again. I know you're in a dilemma. After all, he's not the him he will become. I also know that Su Xinlan has bullied you before. Once Shin Yenjo regains his memory, I will make them pay for what they did. Looking at Chen Shuha, who seemed a bit crazy, I calmly shook my head. Shuha, I am grateful to you, whether in the past life or this one. My blessings for you have always been the same, and the words I want to say are still the same. You don't need to waste your time on me anymore. If I had another chance, I have thought it through clearly. I am not here to take revenge on anyone, because it's my own. So, you don't need to worry that I will make the same mistake again. I won't. I refused Chen Shua's involvement, which was also a farewell to my past self. 12. Su Xinlan broke down in tears on the phone after learning that Shin Yenjo had amnesia. I knew it. I just knew it. He wasn't intentionally not looking for me. She also thanked me, until I told her that Shin Yenjo now mistakenly believes that he loves me. Su Xinlan's face turned pale, and she accused me of what I had done to Shin Yenjo. But actually, this time, I did nothing, because I became the person Shin Yenjo now likes. Su Xinlan still resented me. To be honest, I would rather stay far away from them. In my previous life, after Shin Yenjo brought Su Xinlan back, they publicly announced their reconciliation in the circle. They were each other's right person, and I was the despicable and opportunistic scoundrel. Su Xinlan came to the studio with her friends multiple times, mocking and insulting me. The last time, it was Shin's mother who rescued me. Shin's mother didn't approve of her, so she said to the outside world, it's because of the child in my belly. In short, the arrangement was very unpleasant to listen to. Since I am not loved, I had no room to argue back. Su Xinlan undoubtedly has some methods. I didn't expect that this time, her return had no effect on Shin Yenjo. No effect at all. 13. In my limited understanding, a lover's love has the chance to awaken past memories. That's how it's always shown on TV. However, in Shin Yenjo's case, it was an exception. He was completely indifferent to Su Xinlan's appearance, let alone any opportunity for Su Xinlan to get close to him. It is said that Shin Yenjo directly sent her away from the Shin Group building, letting Su Xinlan cry and scream in front of the building in frustration. This is a man, love or not love. It's so decisive. Su Xinlan couldn't do anything, so she reluctantly sought my help. I had no hesitation at all. After sending her the location of the art studio, I closed the door. When I went out again, I heard Shin Yenjo's cold and indifferent voice. Choose between 5 million and reporting the crime. Yenjo, Miss Su, I'm amnesic, not stupid. In my past life, I don't remember ever loving you. Before I could make sense of the sentence, Su Xinlan made a decision. I choose 5 million. Su Xinlan left, and Shin Yenjo didn't even give her a glance. Don't love Su Xinlan. How could that be? A man's deep eyes suddenly looked at me, filled with emotions I couldn't understand. When I came to my senses, he was already in front of me. Do you really not want to see me? He knew. Probably intimidated by the intense emotions in his voice, I opened my mouth, but couldn't make a sound. Silence continued, and Shin Yenjo was just blocking my way. I clenched my fist tightly, but when I spoke, my voice was hoarse. Move aside, I need to go out. Shin Yenjo remained motionless, so I had no choice but to turn back to the studio. Behind me, the man's hoarse voice was filled with frustration and confusion. Nuanyuan, what exactly happened? Why have we become like this? Is there something you're hiding from me? And what about you and Chinchua? What else does he know? 14. Shenyanzhou left again. I thought he wouldn't come back this time, because I asked him, I have 5 million, do you choose it? He doesn't want to see Su Xinlan. I don't want to see him either. 15. My life has returned to normal. I applied for a school abroad without discussing it with my family. The art studio continued to operate in a semi-public form before the results came out. More children from the surrounding residential areas came to learn painting. Watching their innocent and lovely faces, and hearing their clear, happy voices, I have become busier and busier. Shenyanzhou, Su Xinlan, their business cards are quiet in my friend list, and I don't know how far down I have to scroll to find them. Under my deliberate ignoring, Chinshua's messages have become fewer and fewer. I know, saying goodbye to the past also means saying goodbye to the people from the past. I like this busyness, but not for the birthday red envelope my mom sent in advance. I almost forgot this day, the night we accidentally got pregnant with Shenyanzhou. At this time in the previous life, Chinshua's new bar was open, and he wanted to have a simple birthday party for me. I refused, because at that time Shenyanzhou was my boyfriend. However, to celebrate the opening of his bar, I suggested having my birthday at the bar, just to add some atmosphere to the bar. But I didn't expect an accident on the first night. Chinshua drank contaminated alcohol. A night of recklessness. This time, Chinshua did not open the bar, so there will never be a repeated accident again. Let this day be the same as every other day, ordinary to the point of being unremarkable. However, in the evening, when it was almost time to finish work, Chinshua came with flowers, alcohol, and a cake. 16. What are you staring at? Don't you want to help a bit? I have so much to carry. I instinctively reached out, but Chinshua avoided it instead. Just kidding. How could I let today's birthday person work? Felt like being played with, but his carefree smile and confident tone made me think of the relaxed and pleasant days when I was in school. Plus, the next sentence he said, "It's been a while," made me feel guilty. In recent days, I had deliberately kept my distance from him. At first, he kept reminding me to remember the past lessons, but later it became simple daily greetings. He said he was afraid I would get annoyed with him, so he would type less. I don't like reading long messages. Chinshua, why do you look like you're about to cry? Did someone bully you? I quickly shook my head, leaned against the wall, and watched him busy around, taking a slow breath. Thank you. Chinshua stopped what he was doing, said nothing, and after tidying everything up, handed me a glass of alcohol. Have some. Before I could respond, his hand retracted again. This time, he handed me a glass of juice and smiled. Girls should not drink alcohol. This is better. I raised an eyebrow and didn't take it, instead reaching for the glass of alcohol. No, I want to drink this today. His eyes lit up instantly, and he smiled as he clinked his glass with mine. Then I'll drink it all. You can have it as you like, to celebrate your rebirth. It's also true. This is the first time we've had a meal together since we came back to life. Of course, this glass of wine is the first one I've had in a long time. Maybe it's been too long. After one glass I'm already feeling the effects. The embarrassing stories from my student days haven't been talked about enough. I'm grateful he didn't bring up those unpleasant memories today. Muan, what's wrong with you? One hand is almost unable to support his own head. I pulled at the corner of my mouth. Nothing. It's just been too long. I'm a bit dizzy. Chinshua asked with concern. Your face is red. Should I help you rest? No, I just can't drink anymore. I'll have water instead. Then I'll go get you some water. He quickly brought a glass of water over, and I extended my hand. When I took the cup, I accidentally touched his hand, which was cool and refreshing. 17. Nuanyuan. One hand was pressed against my face, the same cool feeling as before. I couldn't help but let out a sigh of comfort, but the next second, I realized it was Chinshua's hand. Shuha, you. Chinshua's face kept getting bigger in front of me, and in my blurred vision, his expression was so calm and unfamiliar, but his eyes were especially bright and alert. He was clearly speaking words of concern for me, but his gaze remained unchanged. Your face is so hot, like this. Is it comfortable? Chinshua, you go away first. I struggled to brush his hand away, and tried to find my phone, but couldn't find it. Chinshua's voice was filled with anger. Why do you always tell me to go away? Nuanyuan, why is it always me who leaves? That's not what I meant. I'm drunk. Let my mom pick me up. Are you looking for your phone? Chinshua asked me. And then I was shocked to see him take out my phone from his own pocket. He said, I already turned it off for you, Nuanyuan, tonight. No one will disturb us. Nguyen, you have to believe. Only I love you. Only I will never leave you. I'm here to help you. What is he saying? What is he doing? Chen Shuha is crazy. In the wine, I staggered to my feet, but I had no strength at all, and immediately fell back down. Chen Shuha hugged me from behind, his face pressed against my ear, exhaling hot breath. Don't be afraid, it won't harm you later. I was so scared that tears flowed down my face. Chen Shuha, you can't do this. Don't do this. No matter what I said, his hand continued to wander over my body. I closed my eyes in despair. Suddenly, the restraint on my body disappeared. A voice full of anger came from behind me. Chen Shuha, you're dead. 18. Shen Yanzhou pulled Chen Shuha out. I was in the studio, holding my breath, listening to the commotion outside. It was the sound of force striking flesh, one after another. But they didn't say anything. I didn't know who was beating whom. The phone was on the other side of the table. I can't reach it. Shen Yanzhou, Shen Yanzhou, Shen Yanzhou. I started calling his name one after another, but I never got a response. My heart plummeted at that moment. After what felt like a long time, Shen Yanzhou's tall figure finally appeared in my vision. I couldn't help but cry. A pair of strong arms lifted me up. This embrace was both familiar and strange. Shen Yanzhou, it's me. I want to go home. His voice was extremely deep. Okay. 19. Shen Yanzhou didn't take me home, because the effect of my medicine completely kicked in on the way. Can the air conditioning be set to the lowest? I'm so hot. It's already at the lowest. No way. You're lying to me. I'm not lying to you. I was so uncomfortable I wanted to cry. I just kept calling his name, urged him. Shen Yanzhou, hurry up. Shen Yanzhou, can't you hurry up? Hurry up a bit. I really can't stand it anymore. Shen Yanzhou, please. I don't know why he got stimulated. But he directly parked the car in the park he was passing by. He picked me up from the front passenger seat and put me in the back seat, and I resisted by pulling myself in. While struggling, my shoe fell off, and he grabbed my foot. Nguyen, I'll help you first. I shook my head violently. No, you can't, saying that while crying, but still couldn't help but embrace him. Don't cry anymore. Don't touch me. You can't stand it, and neither can I. My body is so hot it's about to melt. This bone-consuming feeling is both unfamiliar and unbearable. I know I shouldn't continue, but my self-control has never been very good. When I was a child, I would cough so red in the face, yet still secretly eat a cotton candy. Before exams, I would think about studying hard, but still end up playing first. I know it's wrong to lie to him, but I still can't help being with him. My consciousness was gradually fading. I grabbed his hair and sniffled, saying, can't, I know, again and again. When I was finally exhausted and dazed, I heard a man's suppressed and hoarse voice in my ears. He said, Nguyen, I'm sorry. It's my fault I couldn't protect you. And the child. My head exploded with a loud bang. Shen Yanzhou had come back, and it was just in time. 20. When I woke up again, I was in Shen Yanzhou's apartment bed, and he was leaning by the window smoking. Remembering everything from the previous night, it was embarrassing. But at least there wouldn't be another child. This is already the best outcome. When I woke up, Shen Yanzhou extinguished his cigarette and walked towards me. Nguyen, I pulled the blanket up, covering half my face. You go out first. Let me be alone for a while. Based on my understanding of him, he should have listened, but he didn't. It's not me. Nguyen, a sentence without context, but I seem to understand it. He said it wasn't him, it was Chen Shuha. Our unexpected child was because of Chen Shua's interference. That night at the bar for the birthday, he actually prepared 2 glasses of wine for us, but only Shen Yanzhou drank it. The one who brutally killed the child in my belly was also Chen Shuha. He believed that I was attached to Shen Yanzhou because of the child, so he wanted to solve it from the source. Shen Yanzhou said. Later Chen Shuha explained. His original intention was definitely not to hurt me. He just didn't expect that the private doctor he found was unreliable. Both I and the child died in his overconfidence. My head is a mess. After experiencing last night, I already believe half of these words. You don't go to the art studio recently. Stay here for now. I was puzzled and looked up, and Shen Yanzhou's handsome face was very serious. Chen Shuha has bipolar disorder. 21. What happened later? I also heard from Shen Yanzhou's assistant. After all, I didn't want to communicate directly with Shen Yanzhou, so the intermediary could only be his special assistant. I know that Chen Shuha has been trading stocks in secret since he was in school. If he could start over, he remembered those few hot stocks from that year. But because of the wrong timing for buying and selling, he suffered huge losses. He lost interest in work and borrowed money everywhere. leading to a huge debt. Finally, his bipolar disorder turned into bipolar disorder, and he jumped from the rooftop. I'm not sure if there's any involvement from Shinyenjo, but even if there is, it's not inappropriate. That night, the words Chinshuha insulted me still remain vivid in my memory. He said I was self-abasing. And even if I had the chance to start over, I would still willingly lie beneath Shinyenjo. He didn't know that Shinyenjo had also returned, nor did he know that night between me and Shinyenjo. It was just the loss of a life, and it had only been 3 months since then. During that time, my mother came to the apartment with Shin's mother to look for Shinyenjo, and they found that I was living there. Seeing the two of them smiling secretly, I didn't want to explain anything. But 3 months later, my acceptance letter came out. Although my parents kept nagging me about my age and what I was doing going out, they actually went along with my decision. They actively learned about the climate, environment, and culture of the foreign country, and had already started planning how many times they would come to visit me in a year. I don't know what Shinyenjo said to his parents, but in any case, Shin uncle and Kai no longer mention our matter in front of me. This does make it much easier for me when facing them. The day I boarded the plane, Shinyenjo didn't come. I know he understands me. Some things he didn't do, but that doesn't mean he didn't hurt me. If I could do it all over again, some things wouldn't happen, but that doesn't mean the harm didn't exist. The plane is about to take off. Please confirm that your seatbelt is fastened and all electronic devices are turned off. Thank you. Goodbye, Shinyenjo. Wishing you a happy life. End of main text. Shinyenjo's side story. 1. At 8 years old, I saw Aunt Bai's photos on my father's computer. So many photos. So many photos. I asked my father why there were so many photos of Aunt Bai. Dad said, I categorized them by people. You can see each person has their own photo album, including your mom's, Uncle Lynn's, and yours and Nuanuan's. I looked and indeed, that was the case, but later I realized those photos were all taken by my father, too, at 12 years old. Chiha said he liked Nuanuan and wanted to marry her when he grew up. I beat him up, of course. I also got beaten up. I began to feel, I also like Nuanuan, and when I grow up, I must marry her. I took out the photo album and drew a portrait of Nuanuan, but suddenly I had a jolt. I remembered the photos of Aunt Bai in my father's computer. Was it Aunt Bai he liked? What about my mother? 3. 16 years old, Nuanuan's birthday. Everyone said she looked just like Aunt Bai. They were obviously mother and daughter. My father and I also look alike. We are obviously father and son, so we all have to like that similar face. No, I don't like it. After my continuous observation, I can be sure that my father really likes Aunt Bai. He always sneaks a look at Aunt Bai, and sometimes he accidentally picks up his phone. I guess he's taking photos of Aunt Bai secretly, but I no longer have the chance to touch his computer. After further observation, it seems that Aunt Bai doesn't know about this, so, should I praise my father or praise my father again? What a terrible family. Yenjo, what are you thinking about? Nuan Nuan's fair face suddenly came into my view. Her eyes were almost identical to Aunt Bai's. I turned my head away in a daze and coldly said, nothing, for, I know Nuan Nuan depends on me a lot, but I don't know if this dependence is love. Elders teased her, asking what kind of boyfriend she wanted in the future. She said she wanted someone like me, and added, but someone who is more smiling than me. Then it's not me. I took a deep breath. It's okay. I wasn't actually in love with her in a romantic way. In order to prove myself, I became better to her, but she could still date others. I didn't expect the girl also had a boyfriend. That's good. I suddenly felt that love was boring and meaningless, so I broke up with Su Xinlan. She wanted to go abroad, so I let her go. At the airport, she wanted to commit suicide again. Indeed boring. 5. I had a car accident, and I lost my memory. I regained my memory again. Intense emotions inside me made it impossible for me to stay calm. I looked away and instinctively took a step back. My dad even looked at me with envy. That's really disgusting. It instantly washed away the fluttering and joy that Nuan Nuan's I love you had brought me. My mom also assured Aunt Bai that she would definitely make me marry Nuan Nuan. I want to escape from them. They teamed up to deceive me. How could I be easily manipulated? 6. My mother said Nuanuan had an accident. She went to a small clinic to have an abortion, and both she and the child are gone. My eyes went black, and I heard a roaring sound in my ears. No, Nuanuan wouldn't have gone on her own. She loved children so much. I didn't know that there was a Chinshuha between me and her. Running around like that, I deserve to die. Nuanuan, wait for me. 7. It must be that heaven has eyes. I'd been reborn. I will not allow Shuha, this scoundrel, to stay by Nuanyuan's side, but Nuanyuan, she doesn't want to return to my side anymore. Even if we don't mention the past, I just know, she doesn't want to. This time, Nuanyuan chose to go abroad. I watched the plane flying into the sky and suddenly raised my hand to grab it. In the end, I could only wave goodbye. I think I ultimately became my father.